Dear listener, as a part of this podcast's multimedia Twin Peaks focused mystery, you are also invoked to participate in this episode. The astute listener may notice or may not, if I edited it astutely, some moments where we cut because Lily's Wi-Fi was fritzing out, and one moment where it exploded. We had to start recording at another point. See if you can clue in to these moments and take part in the ongoing mystery of TSTV. Enjoy the episode. Bye. Hello, and welcome to TSTV, a show in which I, Sadie, guide my friend Lily through the wild world of Twin Peaks. Today we're talking about Twin Peaks Episode 4, The One-Armed Man. Lily, how's it going?
I'm hydrated this morning.
Fuck yeah.
I got this enormous jar of water I've been carrying around with me all day. I was in the Maritimes. I was out east where
Oh my God.
water tastes like chlorine. And now I'm just enjoying the fresh. Yeah, there's also some other stuff.
I was like, yeah, are we gonna? Well, listen, I'll let you lead the way.
Sure. Well, while I was out there, in my dad's hometown, out on the beach, I may have become engaged.
What?
And indeed, I did.
Woo!
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's happening, baby.
I'm so excited for you. Let's hear it for lesbians.
I know, eh?
All lesbian listeners, sound off now. Say, let's hear it for lesbians out loud.
We'll hear you. We'll hear you. Go, go, go.
Yeah, spirit bomb.
Yeah, hearing your reaction was so delightful also. Hearing just your dyke delight at it.
Yeah.
Pretty sick. It happened in a place that is very special to me. And yeah, until we got back, I was sort of just like floating on air. And now I'm a little closer down to earth because I have to like clean the fridge out and do the dishes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still a very nice feeling. It's weird not saying girlfriend anymore. I called Vic my girlfriend the other day and then gasped, and they got really scared that like there was a spider or something.
That's so funny.
But no, I can't be talking like that anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was delightful. And I feel like you were going to say something.
I mean, I was basically just going to say like, Lily, don't bury the lead, you know?
The engagement lead, that is?
Yeah. But any other like events or like anything you've been up to, anything you watched, anything exciting or whatever?
Well, on my vacation, the second biggest thing that happened is I've been playing a lot of Disco Elysium.
Oh, fuck yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, I was off of it for a month or two there because my brain was so full of information that I just wanted to like play like silly like arcadey stuff on my phone. But we're so back. I feel like I'm doing really well.
Yeah. I love that it's funny. I know that you didn't tell me this I feel like if we were not doing this podcast, you would have been like, Sadie, I'm playing Disco Elysium, but you fucking saved it. Because I've been trying to get you to play Disco Elysium for a while. Yeah. So where did you get to?
I'm on day 3. I'm pretty far into day 3.
Okay.
So I've explored all the new area and stuff. Like maybe light spoilers for people who haven't played, but I don't think I've gotten into anything that heavy so far. Hung out in the church. Holy shit, what a cool location that is.
Oh yeah. Did you talk to the guy? The like rafters guy?
Crabman. Yeah, I know Crabman.
Yeah. Oh man. And isn't it such a Twin Peaks ass game too?
Huh.
I feel like, okay, maybe this was me also, because you know how you can have a like preferred stat in that game. For anyone listening who has not played Disco Elysium has like a very involved stat system where you like your stats are like every possible like aspect of your personality, basically.
Yeah, it's not like strength and intelligence and charisma. They're much more specific.
Yeah, there's like, I remember like the in fact like the one that is kind of strength-y, or there's one that's like shivers, but that's more just like how in touch you are with like the city, and also just like being physically cold, which is very funny. But one of the stats is called Inland Empire, and it is basically the like you get David Lynch shit happen to you stat. Like it's and that's the one that I chose, is like when you start the game you can choose one stat as your like trademark stat or whatever that you get a big boost of. And I remember I chose that one, and it meant that I was getting a lot. Here, let me actually pull it up. See, Disco Elysium. The official description of it is the unfiltered wellspring of imagination, emotion, and foreboding. It enables you to grope your way through invisible dimensions of reality, gaining insight on that which sight can't see. What's really going on? What do these enigmatic riddles mean for the world fate? At high levels, Inland Empire animates the inanimate. You'll have conversations with your clothing, conversations that may change the course of the investigation. With low Inland Empire, however, you'll be void of imagination and character. And then how will you shape the cosmos? This is the other fun thing about Disco Elysium, is like if you have a really high thing in the stat, it can just force you. Like if you have a really high like encyclopedia stat, you are just like the shit guy who's like, well, actually,
yeah, that's what I chose.
It's really good. Well, yeah. So this was my like trademark stat, and it meant that I was getting a lot of moments of like Dale Cooper having a dream and then being like, wait a second. I've solved I was like definitely progressing through the Disco Elysium case with my Harry Dubois, just having a lot of like, oh my goodness, the red bird landed on the tree. I know who the killer is, you know?
That's so sick. That's really cool. Mine is much more straightforward, and all of my points are in what is it? Like I chose like the sort of intellectual build, so I have no charisma, no like
Oh
very
my
bad like
God.
empathy skills.
That's so funny.
Which is starting to force me to be an asshole in places I would really like not prefer to be. Anyway, phenomenal game. I get it. Dude, I get it. Yeah, no wonder everyone's been telling me to play this for 5 years.
It's so good. What are your like highlights so far? What are your like holy shit moments?
Ooh, my holy shit moments, eh? Yeah, the pillar of space in the church where sound doesn't really exist. That is hugely intriguing and cool.
Yeah.
This is going to be like recency bias towards day 3, but the raver dude in the tent who like will only
I
say,
fucking
yeah,
love that
party to
guy.
the mega to the max, and you
I
have to
fucking
like
love that guy. What's his name again?
Egghead.
I love that guy. Did you get to the point of him where you have to like it's like a almost like multiple choice like quiz like roguelike through his conversation? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do. Yeah, it's like it's an actually given quest that you need to get him to say something
so
other
funny.
than party time, love everywhere. And I did it. And apparently once you get him talking about real stuff, it's really easy to like say one fascist thing to him, and then he just like becomes a fascist.
Yeah. No! Oh my God, wait, did that happen?
No, I didn't, but Daniel did.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Yeah.
I love that. They're just like put in the middle of it like an old style like interactive fiction. Like it's as if you're doing a like you're exploring the dungeon. Do you turn left? And then if you turn left, you get crushed by a rock, except it's just navigating his mega party conversation. It's so good.
Yeah. Oh, it's one for the books, and it has me excited to play more like similarly text-based graphic adventures. Like I've had Norco on my computer forever. I really want to play that next.
Oh, I've also had Norco on my like I should get to this at some point list forever.
Oh, cool. And then another one that I want to shout out here. This is a game that's not out yet, but I've been playtesting it. It's called Twin Peaks. No. Okay, not quite. It's called Perfect Tides Station to Station. And by the time we release this, there's a good chance it'll be out. It's just like a game about being a writing student in New York City, like this like sort of dirtbag teenager. But the thought system is very similar, where you have to like you
Oh.
take this subject and then this thing you saw out in the world, and you synthesize them, so like to write papers for your classes. And it's very reminiscent of the very unique weird skill system that is thoughts in disco. You think thoughts for a full day, and the whole time you think them, they make you worse at stuff. And then when you're done thinking them, you're usually still worse at stuff. And I fail to understand what they're for mostly.
In Disco Elysium?
Yeah.
I think theoretically I know some of them can give you like a little boost. Like they'll give you a like, you know, +2 of whatever. I remember I think the first one that I internalized was like radical feminist agenda or whatever.
No way.
It's so funny.
That's really fun.
But yeah, I really like that system in terms of like just having. Did you fucking get the homosexual underground?
No.
Oh my god. Okay. Well,
Holy
let me
shit,
tell
what?
you. Okay, wait. Have you talked to a character who's like very much like the gay guy?
Yeah, and I have a check with him that I haven't tried yet, so I'm guessing that's what unlocks it. It's a bit
Well,
like, what do you see in his eyes?
that sounds like the one. I just remember there's like a really, I think that probably sounds like it as a like way to start questioning your sexuality. But I just remember there's like, it's so funny for the game to be like, okay, I'm gonna think for 48 hours really hard about if I'm gay.
Oh, that's
It's
fucking
really,
great.
really, really good.
Yeah. And I don't want to linger on this too much longer, but I want to say that one of my thoughts has had me successfully inspect the body now, so that's pretty nice.
Oh, exciting. As for what I've been up to,
Please.
I have one bullet point. It's just crazy ass implied psychosexuals in The Terminator, 1984. It's funny. I was like, how much am I going to yap about this? But fuck it, we're yapping. Okay, have you seen The Terminator?
I have not.
Oh, it's fun. I remember seeing it as like when I was probably 13 or something, and I rewatched it. I was like, you know what? That's probably a good action movie to rewatch. And also, Maya and I want to do a double feature of watching Shrek 2 and Terminator 2. So watch Terminator 1 to prepare.
That's super funny.
So honestly, it is fun. It's a good it's a good one of those action movies. But so okay, The Terminator. You know, in the future, robots have taken over the world. It's all fucked up, super hell land. And the robots are losing, so their last ditch is they send the Terminator back in time to go kill the mother of John Connor, who's like the epic human rebellion leader. Like kill her before he's born. Great, we won't have an epic leader. And then the humans send back his buddy Kyle Reese to like stop the Terminator. So that's, Sarah Connor, she's in the 80s. A Terminator just showed up, and also this guy who is gonna try to protect me from him,
Quick side note, those are such good 80s character names. It's just 2 first names.
Well, spoilers for the Terminator, but like they fuck. They have a big romantic scene where she's like, bandaging his arm wound. She's like, do they have women in the future? Have you ever been with a woman like that? And he's like, no. But then he says that like he's had a picture of her, and it's like her when she's kind of like epic rebellion leader mode or whatever. And he's like, your son, John, gave this to me, and I've been obsessed with you ever since. I would just look at this picture every night. And okay, also the way, Kyle is the guy who got sent back. The way he talks about John Connor is like bordering on homoerotic. Like he's like, he's so epic. He taught me how to live. He taught me how to fight. I'd be nothing without him. And then he's like, he gave me this picture of you when you were young, when you were like preparing him to be the rebellion leader or whatever. And I looked at it every night. I've been in love with you since before I met you. Oh, wow. And she's into it, and they do fuck. And then like he dies, fighting the Terminator. But then the son from them fucking becomes John Connor.
Okay.
And then at the end of the movie, she's like, baby John, who I'm pregnant with, I think I will tell you who your father was so that you can, you can send him back and whatever. So, and this is very like, okay, sure, yeah, we made a fun little time movie. We tied it in a bow. Time travel gimmick is fun. But I feel like when you think about it, each of like Sarah Connor, her son John Connor, and his dad Kyle Reese. Like each person's motivation in this, like it feels like a Yorgos Lanthimos movie when you break it down, because she is like, here's this, you know, damaged little muscly boy who's so sad. He's a virgin and he fucks like he knows he's gonna die. And he's been jorking it to my photo every night. He's been obsessed with me. Like he came into the past because he's obsessed with me. And she's like, yeah, that is hot. That's understandable, right? That's like, sure. We get it, right? But then she's like, okay, I will tell my son about this. So this means that then John Connor, presumably, we'll update this if whatever we watch Terminator 2, but John Connor presumably grows up being like, if I ever meet a guy called Kyle Reese, it's because he's going to go back in time and be my dad. So I have to give him this photo of my mom where she looked really hot and epic.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And then he meets Kyle Reese and they like become close friends. And he's like, you know, bordering on homoerotic. And then he's like, yeah. And then he's like, by the way, take this picture of my mom so you can jork it every night so that you can be obsessed with her and go back and impregnate her good. Also crazy. But I think the craziest is when I think about Kyle Reese. Like, he's just a guy he's born in fucking super hell future, you know, robots are fucking everything up, you know? And all he's known is war. But then he meets John Connor, this fucking epic guy that he's obsessed with. Wow. And he's so fucking cool. And he, you know, again, very, I think, bordering on homoerotic. And I know this is a little bit like, I don't know, like 2010, like cracked.com, like queer subtext, but like it really got me. So. He's really like, you know, this fucking guy's so epic. I'm also obsessed with his mom. And like, John Connor, you're my best friend. And when he sees the opportunity, he's like, I need to go back in time and make this guy my son. Like, it's just, you know, it's very like, it's very 80s like action movie type of thing. I feel like, to be like, yeah, we're gonna make it we'll throw a little romance in, it'll tie things up, it'll be like very pat and like, you know, like normative and whatever. But then when you think about it for a second, it's like, this is crazy. Like, this is Dogtooth, you know?
That's fucking nuts, dude. Okay, I don't know that I've seen a single 80s action movie, or maybe like one or two. So to me, I feel like I'm being thrown into the deep end here. I have no point of reference for any of this except Blade Runner.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Nuts. I mean, I feel like, you know, like it's very like, you know, it's the kind of movie where at the end, like, she's like, get terminated, fucker. And I'm like, you know, they just have to throw in a romance and just be like, yeah, you know?
It needs a romance. No, for sure. Okay, can I ask what where is the Terminator? Who is the Terminator? What is he doing?
Well, he's a robot who's Arnold Schwarzenegger, right?
Okay, I guess I knew
and
that.
He's was sent back in time to kill Sarah Connor. And I think, like, when they fuck is, like, they've evaded him and they have, like, a night to themselves before the Terminator can find them again. And they fuck.
I see. Okay.
And then, you know, he's wandering around LA trying to find them, basically.
Gotcha. Thank you. Well, I hear the second one is even better, and I'm curious if the psychosexual stuff persists. Please report back. Also on Chuck 2.
Of course. So anyway, that's our yapping. Should we talk about Twin Peaks?
I mean, I don't know. Should we? Yeah, probably.
Okay, so this is episode 4, The One-Armed Man. Let's pull up the log, lady.
Even the ones who laugh are sometimes caught without an answer. These creatures who introduce themselves, but we swear we have met them somewhere before. Yes? Look in the mirror. What do you see? Is it a dream or a nightmare? Are we being introduced against our will? Are they mirrors? I can see the smoke. I can smell the fire. The battle is drawing nigh.
So, is anything jumping out at you?
So, I mean, of course, the creatures who introduce themselves, but we swear we have met them before, that is intended to be the one-armed man. I think it can also be Laura's cousin.
Yes. I mean, definitely, like, look in the mirror, what do you see? I love this, are we being introduced against our will, as in, like, is that your reflection? Like, you look in a mirror and you're seeing a dream or a nightmare, maybe, right? But that, like, it is a reflection of you that you two are being introduced against your will. You know what I mean? Like, by the act of looking in the mirror, both you and your reflection are forced to be introduced to each other, even if neither of you
Oh,
want to, is, like, kind of crazy.
wow. That is kind of nuts.
I feel like that's also, like, are they mirrors hits me as, like, are they mirrors, or are they, like, you know, is it
Is
really
there something
showing you
else in
yourself,
there?
or is it like a door to a different place where your reflection lives or something, you know?
The last episode, I think, ends on this terrifying vision that Sarah Palmer's having, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that is like the backdrop for this episode. And in this episode, we come to learn that the guy in the visions doesn't know anything about this, and he's fucking scared. At least, like, if he's to be believed, which I think I
Yeah.
believe him.
Or it wasn't last episode, because last episode, but yeah, yeah, we've seen these visions,
Recently.
but yeah.
So people collide in these visions, and they don't like no
I
party.
forget, because I know it happens, but I don't know if it's happened already in our watch through here. Has Margaret Langterman, the log lady, talked to us about, like, smoke and fire thus far?
I don't remember that, no.
Okay. Well, you know, that's another thing that may return. But I mean, obviously we've gotten Firewalk with Me, right? And
Yes.
I'm, like, thinking about, she has a log. Is the log meant to fuel the fire, or is the log afraid of fire? Yeah, also the battle is drawing nigh. It's fucking crazy.
Like, within the A plot, I don't see a battle drawing nigh is the thing. The only battle I can see drawing nigh is, like, within the drug deal thing. Maybe that'll intersect in some interesting way. So far, it's been a pretty separate thing, the Leo drug deal thing.
Yeah. Although it has been a very, actually, well, I guess actually now that I say I can see the smoke, I can smell the fire, we sure know that they are planning to burn down the mill. So that's, like,
Oh,
there's something
fuck,
there,
yeah.
right?
There we go. The place where logs come from.
Yeah.
Or no, go to die. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The only one, the thing here that I'm not so sure about is, like, the ones who laugh are sometimes caught without an answer. Does anything, like, jump out to you about this?
I feel with this stuff, I don't know if what I'm saying is, like, so obvious it's not even worth saying, or if this is, like, an interpretation. But what is the name of the one-armed man again?
Mike.
Mike. I feel like Mike laughs in that vision, right? And then they burst into his hotel room, and he has no idea what any of this shit is, and he doesn't know what to say to them. This would imply that he is indeed the one who laughed, and that there is some actual connection. I am so curious to see the relationship these, like, spectral vision characters have to the people they represent, you know? Because right now it seems like Mike is a perfectly normal dude just selling shoes out of a tiny little suitcase that can't hold all the shoes. That's not his fault. It's not his fault the suitcase is too small.
That's so true. So, okay, Mike, the snake Mike, right, Bobby's friend, who technically was Donna's boyfriend, we may recall.
Yeah.
Is not really in this episode, and that's because actually last episode there was a deleted scene before the funeral where he tries to apologize to Donna and she breaks up with him. So that's a deleted scene, but I remember him not being in the show all that much after the beginning, and presumably this is why he is broken up with.
See, this is interesting. I was just talking about this, how because Daniel, the sibling of me, who may appear in future episodes, is a little ahead of me, and said, like, yeah, he just, like, never shows up again after episode 3 or so.
Yeah.
I was okay. I'm glad to know that there's a reason for that. Because he seemed like he was going to be pretty plot relevant.
Yeah, it's also, I wonder, it's kind of interesting to think about that happening alongside, like, the further introduction of Mike, the one-armed man, you know? I don't know. I'm like, obviously we still have the other guy Bob and Bobby's around, but I wonder if there's something there about like like Meline has showed up as like a doppelganger almost of Laura. Like where all these mirror
people
reflections.
replacing people.
Yeah.
Is something I'm thinking about.
Yeah, there's something there, right? There could have also just been production reasons, or they just like didn't really want to do things with that character. But yeah, so he was broken up with last episode. There was another note of the deleted scenes from last episode that was just the episode was to originally feature, I'm just reading this from the wiki, a scene in which Cooper visits the graveyard and meets an elderly groundskeeper who recites a long speech telling Cooper that if he puts his ear to the ground, he can hear those who are buried singing due to their coffins expanding. The scene was cut due to problems casting the groundskeeper. That's so funny.
That's so silly. Like, I love that the execs were like, yeah, we love it. We love it, no problem. But who will this old man be? I feel like it's not that hard to find a freaky old man. I mean,
know,
if
right?
the show is any indication.
Yeah, it's so strange to think about. So that was my notes there. I had some other notes of just like things that I kept thinking about from last episode.
Yeah.
One of which is like the scene where we get introduced to Meline when she comes up is like kind of fucking, it's crazy. So like this is the one where last episode there was like Invitation to Love playing, in which the daughter of Jared was like, Daddy, I know you're in there, because he was going to kill himself or whatever, I guess.
Yeah.
And then Leland is getting sedated and he's like kind of freaking out. And then like Meline walks out. And it's like so, I don't know. There's just like, I was thinking about that. Like, it's like this shadow of Laura Palmer, right? Who walks up and is like kind of speaking to this shadow of Leland because he's just like so, he's like being sedated. He's fucking losing it. And then the TV says like what Laura would say if she, or what we would could imagine Laura would say if she was there, like he's watching TV and the TV is like, Daddy, I know you're in there. And then this woman shows up who is the like carbon copy of his daughter. It's fucking wild, And like thinking even more about like just the log lady, this episode about like the creatures who introduce themselves, but we swear we have met them somewhere before. Like the mirror, I don't know. It's just really, it's kind of crazy,
Huh. Well, I guess TV being made, and the show especially, of like little tropes that you can like, you can connect to your own life. That is maybe one take on the log lady intro.
Yeah. How so? Like in what regard? Like in terms of like seeing a reflection of your life in the TV?
Yeah, like are they mirrors? I can see the smoke, TV being fake and obviously not a representation, like smoke and mirrors.
Oh my god, smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
Fuck. Oh my god. Oh my god. Well, and that a TV screen, when it's turned off, that's like a darkened mirror, right?
Whoa, like a black mirror even.
Oh my god, fuck. Oh my god, I walked right into that. Fuck.
We have fun.
And in that scene, the TV, like what's happening on Invitation to Love really is like a mirror of the scene. I don't know.
Yeah.
Really just kept worming its way into my brain since we recorded. And the other thing is like, I keep thinking about Cooper, like after having that dream, being like, break the code, solve the crime. And also, like, it's really interesting to think about now that we know that, like, everything from that dream, including, like, the cutaways to, like, the fucking, like, candles in the dirt, like, is taken from the international pilot in which they do solve the crime, in this strange way where Bob is just in the basement and is like, yeah, I'm the killer. And then they get him, Like, I think it's really... like there's something there maybe about like the dream as like if the version of Twin Peaks where Bob did kill Laura and then was just chilling in the basement of the hospital and then they got him and then he gave a little speech and then Mike shot him, like is there something going on there about like if he had a dream into another world that gave him an answer to the killer, was he like seeing the version of Twin Peaks that existed in that international pilot movie version,
That is kind of occurred to me also. Like the In the same way as Mike walking through the hospital was like suspect in that episode, even though now we really don't, there's no real trace of that in the final show, like the evil murderer being in the basement. Yeah, it sort of feels like, I mean, these are maybe just like relics from earlier versions, earlier drafts, but thinking of them as like haunting the show is kind of funky.
Yeah, and it's like almost like the doing something like making a pilot movie with an like alternate ending in which the killer is revealed and found instantly is like making an alternate universe for the characters of Twin Peaks that continue to live in the show that we're watching. And for him to like have a peek into the alternate universe that's like this weird movie version is like really interesting.
What if the Twin Peaks are no, not even gonna.
No, but so the other thing is like the notes that I had were really just him saying like break the code, solve the crime is like so declarative and optimistic.
Yeah.
You know, like I said this last time, like this could be him telling the audience how to watch the show. It could be like, you know, find the code, find this, like, and especially if the dream shows are kind of like dreams, movies are kind of like dreams. Is it saying like find the symbolism in the show as dream and like take meaning from it in a very like semiotic way, you know, like this is a code for that. Yeah, so he's like really, he's announcing that in such a like confident way. And it's funny, another thing that I was doing over the past 2 weeks was I was really getting autistic about Twin Peaks and putting on fucking video essays and like I get, you know what, I'll talk about it a bit. There's like a particular like famous / infamous 4.5 hour Twin Peaks video essay that is about like picking apart the show entirely in this kind of like semiotic way.
Okay.
It's like it's this guy called Twin Perfect. It's like this. It's very like this is a symbol for that. You know, coffee is a symbol for the fuel of the investigation. You know, and like really like he really sells it as like I have decoded Twin Peaks for you. This is the final answer. There are no more mysteries.
Oh.
And it's the kind of 4.5 hour video essay that some of it I'm like, this is really interesting. These are connections that I really like making, but I also walk away from it kind of frustrated, you know, because I'm like, I feel like you're missing something here. And I think this is key to this here is like, I think this is the way that Cooper is like announcing to us that we should read Twin Peaks, that it is like a code, right? Or that like this dream is a code and that we need to kind of like, but I think it's important to pay attention to like, does he succeed? Does this approach get him where he wants to go? And I don't know. I'm just like putting in big letters on my bulletin board, like, is Dale Cooper a good detective? And that I think that is a question that we can sit with for a long time. But I think that is something that I'm like just really was thinking about in terms of like how much he is like break the code, solve the crime. That's it, you know?
I think I would actually love to get into the summary because something in the very first scene sort of has me thinking about that too.
Okay. Well, yeah, we've been fucking yapping so much. Let's actually get into our recap here.
Let's do it.
So, the investigation continues apace as Sarah Palmer's vision, a bust on Jacques Renault's apartment, and a bevy of birds answer some questions and raise even more. Not to be left out of the investigative frenzy, Audrey and Donna both vow to uncover the truth behind Laura's death themselves. Meanwhile, Coop gets some boys' time in with the gun boys. The plot to burn down the mill heats up. Bobby is up to no good, and Norma's husband Hank is up for parole, despite his insistence on ominously sucking off a domino.
Well written.
Thank you. I have fun. So in the actual notes, okay, before we get into the first scene, I was thinking also about the intro again. So one, like we've talked about how much of it is fucking sawing logs, and this is again something that people have pointed out in Twin Peaks verse, but sawing logs is snoring, right? Like this is an idiom of for snoring, you know?
Oh, I've never heard that before.
Oh, you know, I think I have. Or like I feel like in like comic books you see a lot of like the bande dessinée, you know, a guy sleeping with like a little like log being like sawed above his head. But there's something there about like, you know, TV show as dreams, sleeping, snoring.
Yeah, you're heading into the dream world, and the music supports that too.
Yeah, and that I don't know. Okay, also I get the other thing is that the first shot of the intro is a bird, right? And as the intro fades out, you hear some little birds tweeting. And that just makes me think about the line from the end of episode 2, the dancing man being like, or I forget if it was him or Laura who said it, but like, where I come from, there's always music in the air and the birds sing a pretty song.
Yeah.
Just things there. There's like, it's like the intro is always has music and always has these birds. But like the logging... I don't know. I was really thinking about like how, you know, last time we had the fucking Bookhouse Boys telling us that there's an evil in the woods, you know? And I feel like there's really something about the town of Twin Peaks being a logging town. We talked about this again, like this is in Blue Velvet. Like it means that the town is like in nature, like it's out there, but it's there because of its how it is like deforesting, right? Like it is.
Yeah.
Dale Cooper's so like, oh wow, it's so great. I'm out here with all of these beautiful trees. But the reason why the town is there in that way is so that it can like industrialize and cut them down, you know? And like the idea that they're saying there's an evil in the woods, like what is logging doing to that? Is it defeating the evil in the wood, or is it like letting it out? And again, just like there's like, you know, the idea of like, oh, there's this evil out in the woods is kind of very classic, I think, like settler, you know, like the idea of like what the woods are, you know? And like I think there's things, intentional or not, about, you know, the way the show talks about that, and like the weirdness about indigeneity in the show, you know, which we've touched on and will certainly continue.
Yes, we will today.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I was really just watching the intro and I was like, damn, there's things here. There's things here about woods and logs. But that was that. I've just been truly, I've got so much to yap about. Shall we get into the first scene?
Let's do it.
Okay.
So we open with a little police session in the Palmer household. Sarah Palmer is sitting next to a police sketch artist, as well as Donna, and she's describing...
I'm sorry, I do need to interrupt. The sketch artist is Andy, which I think is such a funny... It's also like some change from the pilot version to this, is that it's not Hawk, the expert sketch artist. It's Andy now.
That's kind of weird, right? Yeah, I guess they need to give Andy something to do in this episode.
Sure.
So Sarah is like recalling the terrible nightmare vision she had, which was... Remind me exactly?
So there were two of them, right? There's the one where she saw Bob like crouching behind Laura's bed. That's like the shot of him like through the kind of like bars of the bed frame. That was like the one that they got in the pilot where like he looks trapped, you know?
Yes, right. She describes him as an animal.
Yeah. And then the other one is someone, a gloved hand, like finding the necklace. That was at the end of the pilot, I believe, when she screamed.
Yeah, I wanted to mention this because it just feels like article of proof number 1,000,000 that the visions are literal and true and real and like to be taken seriously. So I think this is a real point in Cooper's favor as well. Because they are obviously like, Sarah wasn't there. She has no reason to know this, but it's the vision.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you said you had a thought on this based on like what we were talking about like Cooper. Was this your thought of like, is Cooper a good detective, that like he gets a point here because his kind of vision based approach is paying off?
Yeah, that's essentially it. But I will say, in terms of like thinking about where these visions come from, like why they are what they are, it's interesting to think, you know, she had a vision of this previous scene in the television show. Dreams are often not things that are like, this is literally what's happening. It's more about like connections your brain is making or emotional resonance.
But I think you're onto something. Like, I feel like there's even something about like if Sarah Palmer has a vision and it is shown to us, the audience, then that kind of makes it real in the sense that it was shown to us, the audience. You know what I mean? We see the visions that she has, right? And I think that there's something about like, this is kind of the way like I often get frustrated with when people are like, oh my god, was this real in this movie? Like where someone is like, or were they hallucinating? And I'm like, okay, well, they showed it to us on the screen And that's so it happened, right? Like, not in a, like, you know what I mean? Like, Tyler Durden is a real and my friend, but in the way of, like, the only thing that defines reality in a movie or TV show is that it appears on your screen, right? Because none of it is real. And so I'm always like, well, when they show us something, I think, like, you know, like, there's like I say Tyler Durden because I think that kind of reading is something that people are a bit sometimes too excited to take to things of, like, was he dead the whole time? You know, whatever, like, this kind of thing. But of, like, dismissing something because it wasn't quote unquote real. And I'm like, well, they showed it to us on the screen because they wanted it to contribute to the thematic resonance of this movie or whatever. And therefore it is real. Right. And I think that there's something there, but, like, she's having these visions that are like, but her visions are validated by the fact that we see them, that they are, like, added to the canon of what is shown to the viewer of Twin Peaks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
My other notes in this scene are, like, it's crazy that Maddie just lives there now. Like, we saw her very briefly last episode, and she's just here, like, serving tea with them. And, like, there's a big scene with her when James sees her later, but, like, no one really comments on her in this scene. But
that's true.
She's just there.
I forgot she was in this scene.
Yeah, so did I until I was looking at the wiki. She, like, carries in some tea at the beginning. And, like, she's just there as, like, a replacement Laura. It's crazy.
There are multiple replacement Lauras, I would say. I mean, I think Donna is also sitting next to Sarah, not even, like, comforting her or anything, just, like, as if that is the natural place for her to be.
Yeah. And yeah, so Leland is so, I think, is like, oh, you know, did you tell him about the necklace? And he's like, oh, she's had 2 visions. First of all, I was just like, Leland, why are you being such an asshole about this? It was, like, last episode that you were fucking, like, crying and trying to get someone to dance with you and having a breakdown at the Great Northern. You're really gonna rag on your wife for having a vision, you know?
What was that? What he was doing? I had a hard time reading his tone there. Like, to me, it seems, why shouldn't she bring up the necklace vision? It was helpful, you know?
But he just seemed so dismissive, I thought, the way he's like, she's had 2 visions and, like, storms out, you know?
Oh, sure.
I was really reading it as, like, oh boy, crazy women, am I right, you know?
Yeah, we get a little more of that later down the line,
oh my
too.
God, we do. But yeah, so from there, do you have any other notes on this one, or should we move on?
Let's keep it going.
So yeah, we go to Lucy at the police station. She's watching Invitation to Love. So my first note on this is, do you notice that the, like, Invitation to Love theme sounds like the Twin Peaks theme, but, like, played up, you know?
Oh.
Do 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 do. It's like do 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 do. Like, it could segue into the Twin Peaks theme, you know?
Yeah, except it's very, like, it's a little cheerier, more romantic.
Yes. I don't know, that just really interested me. So yeah, so what's going on in this fucking Invitation to Love? We have Emerald is seducing Chet.
Chet is looking like a little mole rat in a bow tie.
It's so funny. I love Chet's face. It is so funny. And I think she says, you know, like, you always said you could never tell us apart, which, again, twins, duality, Madeline, who looks like Laura. I'm waving my hands in the air. And, you know, she says something about, like, the will and who's the tower's going to be left to. This feels like very much echoing all of the Mill shenanigans, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I know you were saying, like, last time you were like, I did not think Invitation to Love was coming back, but it really is. And I'm curious, I don't know, does anything continuing to, do you have any thoughts on, like, how Invitation to Love keeps fucking showing up?
Interesting to use it. It almost feels like a more helpful viewer's guide than the Log Lady thing, because it's a soapier version of what's sort of already happening in the show. So it just strips it back and goes like, I am character, this is my intention, which can be kind of helpful.
Yeah. My other note on this is, I think, like, you know, Andy walks in and it was like, oh, why couldn't I stay the night last night? they're dating, we presume. And I love she's I forget what she says, but she's that'll be all, Deputy Brennan. I love her delivery there.
Yeah, she's salty, and I'm souring on Andy slightly in this episode.
Damn, yeah.
I would treat her right. I would treat Lucy like the queen she is. I would let her recap any TV show to me.
Oh yeah. Honestly, no, she's our audience surrogate, because all we want to do is yap about our TV show.
Oh, that's great.
So yeah, from there we go to the conference room of the police station, where it is Dr. Jacoby time. Dr. Jacoby is showing off his fucking golf ball magic trick, which is fucking crazy. Why are you doing this?
Takes the balls out of his mouth, right?
Well, he's like has them he's like acting as if he's like throwing them into his mouth from like the side of his head, right? You know, because he's like going like pop, and then like one ball disappears from the side of his head, and then he pulls it out of his mouth. By the way, my note on this is that the actor Russ Tamblyn, he improvised this. He said, Tamblyn improvised elements of his performance, including a magic trick involving 2 golf balls, which was something he had learned and wished to include during his role in the episode.
Oh my god, he was just like, guys, look at this.
I mean, honestly, I think this means that he was like truly method acting Dr. Jacoby, because it makes sense for him to be doing this.
It completely does. That's hilarious.
It's so funny. So the shtick here is Dale is trying to get information from Dr. Jacoby. Dr. Jacoby is unwilling to give certain information because of therapist-patient privilege, but he's like, maybe we can do a hula around it. So he's kind of answering indirectly. He is, God, he's saying like, Dale's asking if she had sexual problems or if she was on cocaine, and he goes on a speech about how the ancient Hawaiians would often turn to medication to soothe their problems, which were often of a sexual nature. This guy is...
Can we just shout out that he says Hawaii?
Oh, yeah, he sure does.
He says, my interest used to lay in the East, but only so far as Hawaii.
Okay, wait, because also, I made a note of that, because that's not to the east.
Right? Okay, right? Like, if it is East, it's the furthest East you can go. Yeah. I think, like, upon coming back to this today, I'm thinking he meant in the East in the cultural sense, because they are like, so they are Asian,
I think
but
this is also to
American.
Indicate that he's just like kind of a dipshit, you know?
Oh yeah, totally.
So yeah, he does give them information. Let's see here. We learned that the twine from Laura's shoulders is a common household brand, but that the twine that was around her wrists is a different one. They got no match. The That's marks weird. On her shoulders, I know, right? Yeah, intriguing. 2 types of twine, I guess. There were bird bites on her shoulders, and that they found there was the plastic fragment in her stomach, and that Albert is going to reconstruct it. And I think it gets revealed, the reconstruction, later, but that it ends up being like a chip, poker chip from One-Eyed Jack's, presumably. Hawk walks in, I think tells him about the sketching at the Palmer house. Dale's like, this is the man from my dream. I didn't want to go there to influence her. I'm a strong sender. Really made me laugh.
Yeah.
Like, Dale Cooper, strong sender.
Which, no mention of that term prior. I didn't need it. I mean, I got that right away. There's so just a whole little world of esoterica that Dale's tapped into. I love that.
Yeah, it's really good. So I think they're saying that they found the one-armed man. He's over at a motel, the Timber Falls Motel. And I really love Dale's like, how long to get there? And at the same time, Hawk and Andy's like, half an hour. And Hawk is like 10 minutes. But I love that then Andy is the one who's like, depends how you go. Which you'd think that would be what the one who said the faster way to get there would be. But I love just Andy being like, well, I know a slower way.
Oh my God, you're right.
It's so funny. Hello, listener, and
welcome to the Easter egg. You found it. Congratulations.
You have uncovered the moment where Lily's Wi-Fi exploded. You did it. You've solved the mystery. We are now resuming discussing this episode. Jumping right into it. We were about to go into the sawmill. No, not the sawmill. The motel scene. The Timber Falls Motel. So we just got Dr. Jacoby telling us a bunch of shit, and then we got a call from Gordon Cole, and now we are at the motel. So Catherine and Benjamin Horne are having their fuck session, and they're like any true schemers can only fuck while scheming. Let's see here. They are discussing, I believe, basically their plans to torch the sawmill.
Yes, indeed.
And let's see, Catherine is saying, I was able to switch the books, and not even Pete the Poodle, which is so funny, knows about her extra secret hiding spot in the desk. But we know that he did espy it.
Mm-hmm.
He did espy it last episode.
So she doesn't know he knows. She... No.
Has
yes. I was overthinking that. About the 2 sets of books thing, I think what we've put together here is that the business is secretly failing, but there's a set of papers that says it's successful, right? Those are the cooked ones.
I think it is the opposite. I think it is that the sawmill is successful, and they want to not only burn it down, but like frame Josie for burning it down intentionally. I think they want to, like, they say that they want the books to look bankrupt, and they want the arson to like spell insurance fraud in like big letters or whatever.
Okay, so I had sort of thought that the business was failing, but it was going to be more profitable for the insurance stuff to make it look like it was successful.
No, because they like, when we see Ben talking to Leah later, he is very like, it's got to look like arson, make it really obvious.
Oh, yeah.
So I assume they want to burn it down as like a land grab to like, I don't know.
For the Norwegians.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, sell it to the fucking Icelanders now. And I guess then if this is also a way of getting Josie out of the picture, one presumes, if she's like, oh, I should have got my brother's inheritance or whatever, I should have owned the mill and the land.
No, definitely. Can I ask you about one note that I have here? Just because now it's been, I don't know, 5 or 6 days since I saw this episode. I have it in my notes. I'm going to give little Elvis a bath.
Okay, sorry. This is so funny because I have a note that I was going to ask you a question about, which is, I didn't spend 18 months up the Amazon dodging blow darts for my health. And I'm like, who the fuck would have spent... Okay, first of all, let's just once again ring the bell of Twin Peaks indigeneity. You're weird about it. Ding, ding, ding. Alert. Negative.
Yep.
Negative points. But... Okay, wait, let's try to fucking... Okay, I feel like I remember... Oh, no. I remember little Elvis. It's that... This was Ben's line when he's like, oh, the cops are here. He's like, oh, I think Catherine is like, gunplay sounds serious, man. And he is like, I don't want to get found here. And he has a little doll or something. And I guess that's little Elvis. And so I think this is just his like coy, like, oh, I better leave. I have to give little Elvis a bath.
Oh, I thought he was literally going to the bathroom to give little Elvis a bath. honestly,
I would not put it past this show.
I do have, you gotta love these freaks. That's my other note for this scene.
Oh, sorry. I remember why I wrote, I didn't spend 18 months up the Amazon dodging blow darts for my health. It's because while they're scheming, fucking Invitation to Love is playing at the same time. Of course. And I remember while they were talking, there's a voice line from Invitation to Love in which I believe Montana, who's the bad boy on Invitation to Love, who's scheming with Emerald, We got some scheming mirroring. I think he's like, I didn't spend 18 months up the Amazon dodging blow darts for my health.
Fuck, man.
While they're discussing their scheme to take over the towers or whatever.
Yeah, there are too many goddamn characters in this show. There are too many little plots. Maybe I'll get it eventually.
Yeah, it does love to throw them at you. And then go, also there's another show in it with other guys that are doing things also.
And that show is also racist.
Yeah. Okay, so the cops are up to the motel, and it's kind of like the two scenes just kind of collide into each other.
Yeah, because they're not going to see Catherine and Ben. They're there for totally unrelated reasons.
Yeah, they're there for the one-armed man.
Indeed, the one-armed man,
which supposedly Hawk has tracked to this motel. So yeah, actually, here, want to tell us what happens as they roll up?
So the cops show up to the motel, wanting to speak to the one-armed man, who I guess they've gotten a tip that he's here. Pretty much, like, they try to do it normal style. They try to just knock on the door, and then Andy fucking, like, drops his gun and it goes off. And I feel like he says something like, not again.
I mean, did you, I think my favorite part of this scene, though, did you clock the Dale spin?
The Dale spin? I don't think so. I see you've dropped a link here. Let me watch this.
Yeah. Please.
Okay. So open including up, the gun drops, and then, ooh, oh my God.
And he does a spin. And this was a link to a Kyle MacLachlan tweet. Someone just said, hey, can you please explain what this wonderful little twist at the end is? And he just quote tweeted this saying, thought I was off camera. Which, honestly, again, given what we know about Twin Peaks production, I think this, and also Kyle MacLachlan, he likes to get a little silly. I think this could be that he thought he was off camera, or that could have just been intentional and he's just saying that. But either way, I love the little spin that he does.
It's great. It's like, it's not a shock reaction. You know, he has a second to think about it and decides to do a spin out of frustration.
Well, it's like almost, yeah, he's like, oh, God dang it. I got to spin.
Got to get all this energy out. It's really, really very charming. So they end up, in part because of this gunshot, like the scene has just escalated. So they burst into the room, and they find...
Oh, and actually, before we get there, because I think in between all this is when we see Ben sneak out to give a bath to little Elvis, and a like one-eyed Jack poker chip falls out of his coat pocket, and Catherine examines it, and I'm just like, whatever. It's obviously just like, Catherine is perceiving the schemes of the schemer, but it was very silly.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that after, because I think the Harry stuff is really I want to say funny, but actually it kind of feels bad. They burst in, and it's just this totally nice man. He is shocked. He is in a towel. He's minding his business. And they sit him down for an interrogation. Once again, totally based on like these two dreamy visions. And he, by all indication, Philip Gerard, seems like a totally nice and normal guy. What they do is they show him the police sketch that they made from Sarah's recounting of her vision. And he says, I've never seen him, but he sure does look like somebody I know.
Yeah, he says he kind of looks like somebody, doesn't he? Which is pointed.
That's really funny. Then they ask him if he knows a Bob, and he says Bob Lydecker is his best friend in the world. I really like this guy. He's just very sweet. So Bob Lydecker, we learn, is in a coma at the hospital, and that's why Philip Gerard was seen at the hospital like a couple episodes ago. They get into what is clearly a sore subject in his missing arm. They talk about how he lost it in a car accident, and they press him like, was there a tattoo on the arm? And the poor guy just breaks down crying under the pressure, and he says that the tattoo said mom. Oh,
Yeah, very much doing a reversal of our expectations.
Completely, because I mean, like I feel like I've said this many times, but we're trusting the visions so far. And I'm sure this isn't a total red herring. I'm sure this guy remains relevant. Wait. Okay, here's a question. I thought his name was Mike.
Well,
why isn't his name Mike?
I don't know. Why do you think his name isn't Mike?
I don't know, because Bob's name is Bob.
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't even clock that his name was Philip.
It's funny, I know we talked about Mike as in Snake, Donna's boyfriend, leaving the show. I don't think that they made him his name is Philip because the other Mike left the show, but that's, I don't know. It's something. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think...
Oh, like he was a mirror and now the image is gone.
Like a black mirror.
No, fuck. Oh, you got my ass. God damn it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like, I think I'm like, I don't know. Does this mean that the thing that we saw in the dream is a different person that looked like him for some reason? Does that mean that, like, we should be looking out for a different Mike? Is there, like, a Mike out there that we haven't encountered?
Oh,
I don't know.
Okay.
I
will say this. If there is a third Mike on this show, I'm gonna throw hands. That would be nuts.
Well, I think they must have had more than a couple microphones when filming. They needed to pick up all the audio.
Boo, get out of here.
Boo. Okay. My other notes on this is like, yeah, because like I think even in how they're like grilling him on questions, I think that like it does frame our cops as being like a bit too much.
It's true.
I really noticed there was some hashtag shot framing, which I'm laughing because we'll come back to this right at the end of the episode. But like Dale looks so tall in this scene, it's like his head looked like it was like touching the ceiling of the room almost. And it's very like he's just like walking in and like interrogating this guy in a way that I think, you know, even when we've seen him kind of grill like Bobby or whatever, it feels like this is less sympathetic or less like we're like, whoa, you're doing a bit much here, buddy, you know?
Yeah, that's very true. There are a couple moments in this episode where he is notably less like this idyllic old school everyone knew each other days cop.
Yeah.
I feel like we got to mention that, this guy is a traveling salesman.
Yes.
And he used to sell pharmaceuticals. These days he sells shoes. This is part of his alibi. I'm just like a normal guy who sells shoes. And then he shows them his suitcase, his like bursting, explodingly full suitcase of shoes. I just want to say that there's no way all those shoes fit in that suitcase. So this makes me, if anything, more suspicious.
Hashtag CinemaSins ding.
Oh, God damn it.
But he only has right shoes. He's like, oh, that's a sample, and then I can mail the other ones to you, which is very silly. I feel like if I was trying shoes on, I would still want to try both shoes on, and also if you're carrying that many, surely. Anyway, but this makes me, this is like striking me just now, but like, you know, he is missing a left arm, which again, I think, you know, I also made a note that like when they first enter and he's like, he has the like left half of his body behind the door of the cupboard. And they're like, put your hands up. And he steps out and has one arm and it plays like the musical sting of like, oh mon Dieu, you know?
Yeah.
And it's a bit much. It's definitely like, wow, this is crazy. What if someone's body was different? So, you know, I'm keeping my eyes on you, Twin Peaks. But, you know, with kind of all, like, I think the way that it's, you know, engaging with these kind of metaphors of disability, there's a lot there. I think we all, you know, c'est pas idéal, it's not ideal. But I do feel like it's doing something about him only selling right shoes while also missing a left arm. Is he imbalanced in a way? Is there something about him? Is there like a left, a sinister? Of how the left is like the sinistro side, you know? Is there like a sinister side of him that is missing or that we're not seeing?
Interesting. This
who could
is
say?
The kind of thing that I could see David Lynch thinking of.
Yeah. The left, when I say sinister, this is like the I think in Spanish, like left is like sinistro, but like
Also Latin,
left
I think.
Sure, yeah. This is like a etymological thing, and also cultural about right and left. But yeah, so shall we move on though?
Yes. I'm excited to talk about this next scene because it has my girl Audrey.
Oh hell yeah! Do you wanna take it away?
Yeah, sure. So this scene is in the bathroom at Twin Peaks HS. Donna and Audrey have this encounter in like by the mirrors, where Audrey sort of like talks about how she has these fantasies about running away with Cooper, like very escapist thing, and Donna sort of takes her back down to earth in a way. Maybe just takes her into this slightly different fantasy of like, we need to solve the murder, Audrey. And Audrey's into it. Audrey seems to really like take pleasure in the idea of the like twisted interests and treachery involved with the murder investigation. They talk a little bit about Laura and like what she was like in her final days, and they agree to like keep this under wraps.
Yeah, I know. I really made a note that I think Audrey says like, I think she says like, I didn't know Laura that well, but even I knew she was wild. Like the implication being that everyone knew this. Again, we're really like getting so many. It's as if we're getting like an almost like endless amount of equally contradicting statements about Laura Palmer, each of which are said with equal confidence. We are told she was the school sweetheart, she was wild, she was doing cocaine, she was helping like tutor Audrey's brother, like she had infinite secrets, she was beloved by everybody, but also everybody knew that she was wild, but also nobody knew in a way.
Yeah.
Laura as an image is really having a lot thrown on.
That's very true. Well, I'm starting to think she is like the embodiment of the whole town's duality, right? She is this like model student and everything, this like beautiful, promising young lady, but also she is the underbelly. And maybe everyone loves her so much because they all like you can see whatever you want sort of, and what you think of her is what you think of the town in general.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I don't know, I think in like whether we think of her just as a person or like, a kind of microcosm of Twin Peaks, I think it is interesting that both quote unquote or like all sides of her are being like ambivalent in the way that it isn't commonly used, like ambivalent being commonly used to mean like, I'm in the middle, but it can also mean like both extremes are equally strong, I think it's easy to talk about like the good and evil of Twin Peaks. I feel a bit more hesitant to use that language just kind of because of I don't know how I feel kind of politically about like, the idea that the small towny hominess of Twin Peaks is like capital G good, but like, like these strong opposites are all being represented equally.
Definitely.
But yeah, so I think it's very interesting that Donna wants to like run off and wants to escape. I wrote escape ... shoes ? Because we have seen. Oh, so did I say Donna? I meant Audrey. But like we have seen Audrey put on different shoes in that first episode. She was putting on her sexy shoes.
So much attention was actually called to her shoes. That's how I knew how to identify her, because it's a lot of white ladies with brown hair.
Yes. Yeah.
She was the shoes.
So I don't know. Maybe there's something. Maybe there's something there about shoes. But I think it's really interesting that she's like, she both wants to leave Twin Peaks, but also she is like trying to become the detective here. Like she's saying like, I'm starting a new plot thread in this show of which I am the protagonist. Like we were kind of saying earlier, like she kind of wasn't connected to the other teens in so much a direct way. But it's kind of like she's saying, no, I am stepping into the plot. Not only is Dale Cooper the detective, but I am the detective, and I am going to solve this murder. I don't know, really interesting.
I have a couple thoughts on this. First of all, I'm hoping you remember this slightly better than I do, is that Audrey is a crank mathematician, like what's his name? Terrence Howard? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do not. I'm Googling this man.
Oh, okay. Okay, so Terrence Howard is an actor who is an Iron Man and lots of other things, and is like a math crank who is...
What does crank mean in this context?
So in science, a crank is sort of someone who opposes like the prevailing consensus, but does not actually know what they're talking about. So like a physics crank is someone who thinks that they have personally come up with the theory of everything.
I am on his Wikipedia page and I do see the subheader pseudoscientific theories.
So I actually have his like quote unquote paper, which he posted on Twitter here. Unbalanced equation argument. 1 times 1 doesn't get 1. It equals 2 by Terrence Howard. And then there's a bunch of like not math about how 1 times 1 equals 1. And how that's not actually true. I don't get it. It's like, this is the point where the waves of arithmetic and waves of multiplication converge. It's actually very Twin Peaksy. There's all this about the associative and commutative laws, which like, I don't know what that means. Anyway, I think Audrey follows that kind of logic, and power to her. I think this is the scene where I sort of feel more confident in like my read of her, which is that she knows all of this is sort of bullshit in the way that like is typical of Gen X teenagers on TV. But instead of rejecting it, like Daria or whoever, she totally relishes it. She loves how much all of this is a show and everyone is like playing their little part. And she loves the idea of playing a different character. Like she always has this sort of like far away look in her eyes, like like she's dreaming, like she's sort of somewhere else. It's like a layer of like ironic detachment or something. Like I totally don't believe that she is actually sad that Laura died. But I believe, like, I also don't think she's doing it for some evil motivated reason.
She does always seem like she's like, oh great, I get to put on this personality now and I get to like play a part, so to speak. And it's like, it's really interesting. Like we've talked about her also like being connected to the kind of like dreaminess, and she is very Dale-like in this way,
Yeah.
Like I think her and Dale have the strongest, kind of strange dreamy land connections, except for maybe Sarah Palmer, honestly.
Yeah, there's something later in the episode about how Laura and Sarah both had like visions.
Yeah. It's really interesting. And I it's funny, I was noticing like the way that she's so excited by like the salaciousness of Laura's death and exploring it. It does feel like a reflection of how Dale is so excited by the mystery. And it's like Dale feels very excited in like an intellectual way.
Yes. Yeah.
And Audrey, and I don't know, I hesitate to be like, and the man is the intellectual reflection and the woman is the but
maybe that's the show they made.
Yeah. No, but I don't know. And it's funny, I was earlier like, Dale's very like, this dream is a code, and this we will like intellectually find out what each thing is a code for something else for, and then we will have solved it. And Audrey feels excited in this emotional way where she wants to like get into the, what's the word, not vivaciously, when you
vicariously
the like emotional core of the mystery of Laura Palmer's death, which we'll come back to later because I'm a bit worried about her, honestly.
Yeah.
But that was my note. Shall we continue?
Yeah, let's.
Hello, it's Sadie from the future. You know what I'm going to tell you. tstv.show. It's our Patreon. You can go there. Give us $3 measly. You get episodes 2 weeks early. You get bonus episode. If you're listening to this on the public feed, then our very first paid only bonus episode is out, featuring hit video essayist Jacob Geller. We're talking about David Lynch's only Disney movie, The Straight Story. I think it's a really good episode. We had a lot to say. And if you don't give us $3, you will never know. We don't want to die not knowing what we said about it. Give us $3. Okay, enjoy the episode. Bye. So yeah, next is Norma is going to the parole hearing for her husband, Hank Jennings. So here we learn that he was in there for manslaughter. I think we knew that. He said he was in like a car accident. He ran over a vagrant. My first note is like when he's like talking to Norma before he goes in, he's like, "You gotta help me. This place is really putting the zap on me." I hate it when a place puts the zap on me.
It's actually interesting. I don't know if I had clocked that he was in prison for a car accident. Like, he's been talked about like a really bad dude, and a car accident is like a very normal thing to have happen. You know, I guess I just assumed it was like murder.
Yeah, honestly, I was like, was he in there for quote unquote accidentally pushing like Catherine's husband off a boat or whatever, because didn't he die in a boat accident? I mean, I don't know. Maybe he was also like, this guy feels like, you know, maybe he intentionally ran a guy over, or maybe he was just on he had some fucking like Coen Brothers movie misadventure where he was trying to do a bunch of other crimes and then accidentally ran a guy over, and then that's what he got caught for. But yeah, the speech that he gives about it is, I think, pretty, you know, we're meant to take it as pretty insincere. He's, you know, kind of like, oh, it's so bad. I took a life and I almost ruined another life, as he gestures at Norma as kind of like, wow, if you let me go, my lovely wife will have me back.
She'll be so happy.
That's so special.
But like, she doesn't want him out, right?
Yeah, no. I mean, this seems, and again, you know, we'll ring the bell.
Ding, 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 ding.
We're proud prison abolitionists, and we think that any TV show, as it talks about prison, gets kind of weird, including this one. But yeah, so, you know, let's just put that on the table, right?
Yeah.
ACAB, etc. But
yeah,
so you know, he's kind of like, oh, you got to let me out for my wife, and also she'll be giving me a job, so he'll be able to re-enter into society in this way. And, you know, definitely it is very like, wow, these prisoners that are trying to get out with their sneaky tails. It's a bit whatever. But I think the funniest moment in this scene is like at the end, and this like comes back later, but as it's first introduced, we see him that he's been playing with a little domino, and we get the spooky musical sting.
Ooh,
and like
evil
this
domino.
does come back later as, I guess, his calling card or whatever. But in the moment, I love he's just like, you know, he's giving his fucking parole speech, but then he's fingering the malicious domino sign of the gambler and low morals.
Domino
so
is such a funny symbol to use. I mean, okay, so yeah, we only see it briefly in this episode.
And it will return.
I'm sure it will. So this is, for me, what this is doing is like, oh yeah, so he's involved with One-Eyed Jack somehow.
Sure, yeah, that makes sense. I think that it's funny. I hadn't even explicitly made that connection, but yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But I mean, the domino will return later this episode.
Yes, it will. The malicious domino. And then you have like 20 ... after it in the notes.
So let's see. Okay, next up, we're going to the veterinarians to investigate Bob Lydecker's veterinary clinic. Dale is like, well, that guy wasn't anything like the guy in my dreams, but we are still going to follow this thread through to the end. I want to shout out, as they like park and like are going up to the veterinary place, there's a biker, I think, who's just like, oh, Hawk, and they high five. I love that. Like, they just put that in of some guys, like, yeah, they love Hawk out here.
That's my man.
So yeah, they go up. They're at Lydecker's veterinary office. I think Dale is like, oh, there's a convenience store nearby, and Dale's like, oh, in my dream, they said that they lived above a convenience store. And he tells, I forget who he tells, but he says, you know, go into that convenience store and buy me some twine, which is going to be the specific brand of twine that they had identified as being tied around Laura's shoulders, if I remember.
Yes.
So in the veterinary office, there is a llama along a couple other pets. Dale goes up to the receptionist. He shows them the sketch of Dream Bob. She says, no, that is not Dr. Lydecker. But Cooper is very confident that the bird, I think he says that the bird that attacked Laura Palmer is a client of this office, which I think is just very funny as a way of playing like the bird is a paying customer.
That's great.
So other details here. Oh yeah, I think the subtitle or like the
motto.
They have like the motto of this veterinary office is "Aid to the Beast Incarnate," which is crazy.
That's fucking nuts. Oh, this reminded me of, so I mentioned this to you. I've been out east, right? And when I was in New Brunswick, I passed by this like drainage warehouse, just like with a bunch of like stuff for like your gutters and stuff. And
oh my God.
the slogan, which was like 20 feet long on this huge hanger, basically, was mastery over rainwater. Which is so fucking sick and extra. I just love the idea that people who aren't, I don't know, artists can see this kind of bonkers potency in their work. Same thing as Aid to the Beast Incarnate, just like,
I thought you were going to say like people who don't have mastery. You know, I don't have a way to redirect rainwater at my will. I have no mastery over rainwater, unlike these wizards
straight
of the
up
rains.
Rainwater amateur. I suck shit at rainwater.
Okay, so the other thing here, I think, is that there's a moment Dale is halfway through saying something, and the llama is guided between him and Harry and snorts in his face. So apparently this was just a happy accident. It was actually not scripted.
Oh, that's
or
delightful.
like planned. Which is very funny. The Wikipedia just said, though McLachlan keeps a straight face despite being clearly startled by the llama, Michael Ontkean, who plays Harry Truman, can be seen stifling a smirk, and the receptionist can be seen laughing in the background. According to McLachlan's Twitter, the scene was done in one take because Ontkean could not stop laughing to film the second. It's so funny.
Oh, that's really funny. I think we should... Obviously, there's some major ethics as far as like having animals on film sets, but if we could let them improvise more, I think some great things would happen.
Cook.
Let them cook. That's so funny. I thought that is one of my favorite moments in the show when the llama does a little.
Yeah, it's really good. So from there, we cut to Shelly and Bobby are fucking making out. Sloppy style,
tongues out, guns out.
Exactly. Okay, I think they talk about the funeral bit. I believe Shelly is like, "Wow, you were so epic," telling them it's all what's up. It must be so hard for you. Bobby is so mad that Laura was seeing James, which is very funny considering he is saying this to his other girlfriend that he was also seeing, who is also married. So I think they're saying like, oh, you know, are we safe to be making out or whatever? And Shelly's like, don't worry, Leo is off with Jacques Renault. And Bobby's like, whoa. I gotta think. Which you can tell because he steps away and says, I gotta think. He really feels like steam is coming out of his ears, you know? He's really putting it all together.
This is something he can only do once a day.
Yeah. But frankly, it's more like thinking about how to lie to his girlfriend, because he's not like, oh yeah, I knew that because I was a part of this, you know, distribution system.
Yeah.
He's like, I've been onto this for a while, as if he's been investigating it. Like, it's very funny. Very much an episode of a lot of people putting on the detective hat. Here, fraudulently.
Fraudulently, indeed.
Okay, so I think actually he tells Shelly, he's like, you know, they've been selling drugs at the high school. It's so fucked up, but this is how we get rid of Leo, basically. Shelly shows him her little secret compartment where she has the bloody shirt that Leo gave her in the pilot, and also her very feminine gun.
The beautiful shiny lady gun.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, my other note on this is that Bobby's shirt, it says something on the back, but on the front it just says Dick with a heart on the eye.
No way.
Shout out. I love Dick.
He's not all bad.
So, you know, he's saying, you know, with this bloody shirt, I know exactly how to get Leo out of the picture. And then Shelly comes onto him by erotically rubbing her lady gun on her boobs, which Who hasn't been there? I'm always doing this.
I love a lady gun.
I'm going to say something here. And this is a real, can I say something without anyone getting mad at me? Is it illegal to say that I kind of fuck with Shelly and Bobby if I put the Butch femme vision on? If I think of, like, when I cast Bobby as the most shithead Butch lesbian, I'm like, fuck yeah, now we're cooking.
You would.
Yeah.
I like observing them, but holy God, are they not good for each other? But you know what? I'll let you have your fun with that.
Well, it is funny to think about because, like, you know, Shelly, when we see her like outside of interacting with Bobby, I mean, obviously, I think it, you know, makes sense that she wants, you know, someone in her life who isn't fucking Leo Johnson. But she's pretty, like, she seems pretty even-handed, right? She's like, I don't know. If anything, it certainly seems like another tragedy in the making in terms of, like, you know, what she's saying. I think she says at some point in this episode, she's talking to Norma and she's like, oh, Leo was all so cool, but then he was a fucker as soon as we got married.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't put it past Bobby to do the same thing. But, like, you know, Bobby is doing his little fucking rude boy shit at all times. And Shelly's just kind of just hanging out. Like, she's much more normal.
She is
Bobby,
much more
I think,
normal.
you know?
And so far in the plot, she's much less an agent.
She's definitely in the, like, tertiary character role, I would say.
Yeah, she's more like, I mean, so far she is mostly around as a way for us to, like, learn about Leo and Bobby in terms of, like, how they treat her, which is, you know, like, I know shows need tertiary characters, but it is sort of a shame that the battered woman is in this position.
Yeah. Well, but I think it's also, like, I don't think that's not true. I do feel that there's also, like, I think Twin Peaks is, like, sometimes interested in characters who move the plot along, and is sometimes interested in just, like, and let's see what life is like for these people in Twin Peaks. Like, I think she feels very similar to, like, Big Ed to me. As, like, they you know, like, because we do keep checking in on her, and it is often, you know, she's there and Leo's being bad to her. Like, it is true that we don't really, we haven't really, you know, I don't know if she's passing the Bechdel test or whatever, you know what I mean? But, you know, like, she is kind of this, like, texture, and, like, you know, every episode we get a, like, and let's check in on Shelly, you know?
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's true.
But yeah, so do you have any other thoughts on this setup scene before we move on?
I don't believe.
Okay, well then, yeah, take us, Lily, to the police station.
All right, back with the Bookhouse Boys.
Yeah.
That is incidentally true. We're not at the bookhouse, but these boys
It's true.
are...
It's true. They are the Bookhouse Boys.
Yeah. So the aforementioned boys head back to the police station with all the vet's bird files, or maybe just all the files, period. Harry gets Lucy to go through the files and see which ones are birds, with, I guess, the idea that the bird owner would then be incriminated. Andy apologizes for dropping the gun. I kind of didn't get that these were files from the vet, so I thought these were just their criminal record files.
Yeah.
That, like, they happen to have a file on every pet in the town.
Yeah,
it's
of course,
a really fun idea.
Oh yeah. Not only are the pets clients, but they are criminals.
Well, in this episode, literally, yes, I think.
It's true.
Yeah, so we get a little moment between Andy and Lucy, who we have recently learned are involved in some way. And Lucy is clearly a little bit upset with him, still over the, like, not letting him stay over thing, or vice versa.
I think he, like, goes up and, like, tries to be like, oh man, I'm such a klutz, I dropped my gun. And I love her line. She's like, I am now under orders to go through all these files. Storms off.
Yeah, so now Andy is having like girl troubles, right? And they
Poor depressed Andy.
Yeah. They take him off to the shooting range to have a little bit of, like, healthy masculine bonding time. And by healthy, I don't mean healthy.
It's really boys' time.
They walk him through what looks like some sort of like back rooms. I don't know if this is like in the police station or what.
I think it is, which is kind of wild because I would not have, from what we've seen of it, I would not have think that they just had a shooting range back there, but I guess so.
Yeah, and I just want to call out briefly that as they're passing through this, like, I don't know, storagey space, there is some sort of decoration that appears to be Le Bonhomme de Neige. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Wait, as in the, like, oh my god, wait. I think I remember seeing this. Are we talking about the fucking, like, Quebec Winter Festival mascot guy?
Yes. For those not in the know...
I love our fucking Quebec deep cuts in this podcast.
It's Le Bonhomme Carnaval. Look him up. It's not a perfect match, but it's this big snowy guy in a red hat. This is like one of the iconic Quebec guys, and
it's him and UP.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna say, to me, this bumps the French Canadians so high up on the list of who killed Laura Palmer.
Oh shit, that's true. That's true. We see the Bonhomme Carnaval with the guns, the killing instrument.
Yeah, this is fucking evidence, man. This is all a whole thing. Once they're at the shooting range, Dale gives like a few words of comfort to Andy, saying something to the effect of, women are just totally different creatures than us. There's no
They're
logic.
drawn from a different set of blueprints.
Yeah.
There's no logic at work. It's fucking boys' time. It's so funny.
Yeah, this is...
I also made a note of, like, when he's like, so, Lucy's upset with you. And he's like, oh, you can tell? And I think it's Harry who says, like, not too many secrets left around here. I gotta say, if you can't be saying that shit while you're investigating the murder of Laura Palmer, man.
You got some secrets left. Yeah, we don't know anything, really.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, go on.
Sorry, just like, that's so false. Even without the murder of Laura Palmer, everyone is hiding everything. Anyway.
Yeah.
They do some target practice because Andy is not good at guns, as we have learned.
Yeah.
So this sort of like doubles as a workplace safety training. Well, I guess it's not safety if it's about like effectively shooting people. And what is it? So Dale is like crazy good with gun shooting.
Yeah, Dale's so good. He can shoot. They're like, oh, you only made 4 holes or whatever because they shot 5 times or 6 times or whatever, and he's like, I put 1 through each nostril and the rest through the eyes or something, or the forehead. It's so funny.
Nuts.
We get some Dale history lore here, which is also so funny. I think they're like, someone asks Dale, like, were you ever married? And like, there's this close cut to boom up in his face, and the music comes in. He's like, I knew someone once. Oh, I wish I had the specific line. The wiki just says, Cooper and Hawk discussed the vagaries of love. It's like, I knew someone once, someone who taught me the meaning of a broken heart. Bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
It's so much.
It's like a little on the nose.
Yeah. And then Hawk reads us a poem.
Oh, yeah.
It is a very, again, I just wrote Twin Peaks, you need to chill it with Hawk. Negative buzzer sound. Bang. It's a very, I don't know if you remember the specifics, but it's like very a poem about love that is pulling very much from these kind of like stereotypical indigenous ideas of these like the spirit of it's been a week
or something. There's
oh god, yeah.
It's quite bad. It's
But I will say, him reciting this as if it's like some proverb, and then he's like, I wrote that for my girlfriend. And like, who's a PhD at Brandeis, is quite funny. I love to think that he's just out here writing these love poems for his PhD girlfriend and then just recites one to these guys. Is so funny.
He's sensitive. I do quite like him, everything aside. The fact that this seems like it's going to be like an ancient parable of native wisdom. And he wrote it. Yeah, that just to me feels like it is funny, but it's also like, oh, this guy it feels like maybe David Lynch is not great at conceptualizing like contemporary Indigenous people.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I definitely feel like a lot of like Hawk as a character in this show is I feel like there's a lot of things where if I just think about it as like Hawk the guy like in the show without thinking about real world politics, I'm like, I like this guy. I like that's charming that he did that. But then like, yeah, as soon as you actually start thinking about it from like David Lynch or, you know, whoever these writers like made a decision to have him do that, I'm like, okay, guys, come on. We can do better than that, you know?
I think this is the first scene in the show that I've thought to be like bad. Between the Hawk thing and the very like I knew a woman, bang, bang, bang. And the there's no logic to women thing. I like the rest of the episode, but this one didn't do it for me.
It's funny. I think I like it because of how stupid it is, you know?
Oh, sure.
And I think this is also another very, like... I don't know whether Twin Peaks the show knows or thinks that this is as stupid as I do. But I am charmed by just how much it is fucking boys' time, you know?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's definitely like aware of the chauvinism about like women are different blueprints and stuff.
Yeah. It is stupid. It is like it's bad, but I have fun.
Yeah, I get you. Okay, want to move on?
Yeah. I mean, from there we go to fucking girls' time.
Girls' time.
Because we're at the diner, and here's the scene we were talking about earlier. Shelly and Norma are talking. I think, you know, Norma's like, look at the two of us, 4 men between us, and we don't know what to do with any one of them. And this is where she says, you know, Leo was so cool, but once we got married, all he wanted was a maid he didn't have to pay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're kind of just catching each other up on the events that we have just seen happen. This is definitely a failed the Bechdel test moment, but, you know, I do like these two. I really like them. Again, this is another, like, you know, these women, in terms of how they're being written as characters, like, you know, they could have some more sauce, perhaps.
Yeah.
But I do really like their connection as, like, if I think about, like, Norma and Shelly are my friends, I'm like, oh, yeah, those are my friends. And that isn't generally how I, you know, advise thinking about, you know, these shows or, like, fiction generally, you know. But I do like them. I like that they are there for each other, you know.
Yeah. I like that they look like a mother and daughter.
Yes, it is a very mother-daughter type thing going on.
And I mean, they dress the same for work reasons, obviously.
Yeah. And so, you know, they're saying, oh, we'll go have a spa day together. It is very girls' time. And in a like cartoonish way that I think matches the cartoonishness of blam blam gun boys' time, you know?
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, Norma's like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna divorce Hank. It's, you know, she doesn't really know. And Shelly's like, I definitely have plans for Leo. So actually, well, let's wrap up the Norma stuff, because basically Norma gets a phone call and says, Hank did in fact get his parole. So watch out. That is going to be happening.
Which I don't have a full sense of why she doesn't want that. I know she's having an affair that she would like to hide, but, you know, like everyone's doing that.
I think it's partially the affair, and partially I think it means that she has to, like, make up her mind, you know? I think she was able to be like, well, he's in jail, so I can be... Well, actually, but I think her and Ed haven't fucked, I think. I don't know. I think it's unclear. I feel like... I don't know. I genuinely don't know if it's like they are in love and talking about leaving their respective spouses. I genuinely know. But anyway, I think she's kind of like, you know, where she's like, oh, he's in jail. I don't have to think about it. I can just, you know, see Ed on the weekends or whatever. But now, you know, she has to make a decision. And presumably he is, as we learn, he's a bit of a suspicious character.
Indeed.
As exemplified by his spooky domino. So, you know, presumably she's not so sure if she wants that back in her life also.
Yeah, this makes sense.
But I think mainly this is like doing the soap opera thing of like, you know, you're gonna have to choose. This affair is coming to a close or whatever, you know?
Okay, the way these two are sort of bonding over their bad relationships, that And especially the way that Shelly is talking about, this violent husband she has. I don't know what it is. It's like she's almost kind of like looking wistful. Like there's it's like a sadness with a smile that I don't necessarily
This is Norma
relate to.
or Shelley?
This is more Shelly, actually.
Yeah, interesting.
I have never been in her position. I don't know how someone like her would speak, but I have, known women who were much more like visibly distressed when this kind of thing came up. I guess for her it's very normal and they've been together a long time. But just like I'm thinking about how the show thinks women feel about their abuse. I guess that's something I want to keep thinking about.
I think that is a very good thing to keep on the bulletin board.
Yippee!
Yippee!
Sorry.
My other just little notes on this part of the scene is that they have there's in the background like a say no to Ghostwood, which was the the fucking project that Ben Horn was trying to sell to the Norwegians. I think that's just interesting. People are against, I guess, developing the forest for it or whatever, and that
Sadie.
Do
you remember the building apartments on a golf course campaign that was raging as we were young?
I do. But this is truly the Montreal deep cuts are here.
This is nuts.
God,
what's the name of that golf course again?
I do not remember.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But I remember many involved parents in our community were opposed to turning this golf course into housing because oh, so many animals live on the golf course. We need to protect the animals.
Yeah,
it's not about golf.
Very middle class, the green space,
Yeah, upper middle, I should say. It was a pretty wealthy neighborhood.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, then we kind of segue to the other half of the scene that is in this location. Oh no, James is here and he's calling Donna. Yeah. Because I know James's head is so square. It really just is all the time. So Donna is saying, come to the church potluck. We need to talk about the clues that Audrey dropped, which, now that I'm thinking about it, it's very funny for, why did James call Donna to get invited to a thing? That's just kind of funny.
That is weird.
Anyway, we love television shows. It would be weird for her to call him here, I guess, right? But most importantly, maybe he did have something to say to Donna, but he is interrupted because Meline enters the diner.
Yes, Laura's cousin.
And takes over the scene instantly. The music changes. It is very ghostly. James reacts as if he's seen a ghost. Yeah, so James is oh, I'm gonna have to see you later. Goes up to Meline. And Meline just kind of out of nowhere is, you think I look like Laura? And says which is very, presumably she's inferring this from just how much James is looking at her. But I think it is very, interesting for her to just say that, unprompted, announcing to James and us that yeah, by the way, isn't it crazy that I look like Laura? And he's just completely flabbergasted by this.
It's funny. It's one of very few things we know about her. Even this is her third appearance.
Yeah. I think she says, was she from Wisconsin? Which was my other note, is that I think she has kind of a Midwest accent, but it definitely feels kind of forced. It's a bit silly. But yeah, I don't know. Very, every time that Meline has been on screen so far, I've been this is, it sure is doing the thing that it is doing with her being, doesn't she look exactly like Laura Palmer? But yeah, I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on this scene?
Well, Meline continues to be very interesting for me. She seems to be from another era, I guess it's partly the not totally convincing super American accent. It's also I don't know, she's a little floaty, she's she's obviously sad. She's not carefree, but there's a levity to everything she says. I don't know, she's it's a little comforting, just the presence of her. which I think works in the same sense that, you know, like that's why she's around, basically, is to be almost Laura for the Palmer family. I guess, like, I also feel that in her performance, which I think is cool.
If she is a, like, Laura duplicate, she's a version of Laura who is not, you know, buying, using, maybe even selling cocaine, and is not potentially involved with One-Eyed Jacks, and is not, you know what I mean? Like, so on and so on, you know?
Sure.
It's like an image of Laura as almost like what the town wanted the image of Laura to be, you know?
She does seem just like purely straightforwardly good-natured. You're right.
Yeah.
It's interesting then to have Laura blonde and her hair dark. I mean, usually the character with dark secrets is identified with dark colors, you know? Yeah, just like more on this duality sort of between the nice town and the seedy underbelly.
Yeah, the Sadie underbelly.
Sadie on her belly? Are you?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I record all of our episodes sitting like Babysitters Club style. But yeah, I don't know. I'd write like the role of the double R diner is kind of interesting to me, like narratologically. It is kind of just like this place where all these soap opera plots can intertwine in the way that, like, we talked about the Roadhouse bar as being like the generic bar place. Like, you can just go there. Like, the fact that you know, Norma and Ed can go there to like talk about their affair, and it's like almost blocked off from the view of like mainline Twin Peaks because it's at the Roadhouse, you know, it's at the seedy bar or whatever.
It's like
the
a little
diner is
pocket
just
dimension.
like, yeah. But yeah, like similarly, the diner is kind of just filling this. It's just like where you can go to have a like soap opera plot intertwine in the like above, like not underbelly, in the main world of like the, you know, the kind of the world of the law and, you know, old timiness and whatever. And like this is a very like 50s style diner, you know.
Oh, that is so true.
Yeah. So that was just my last note there. It's interesting how it is like deploying these locations in these ways. Do you want to get this Audrey Ben Horn scene, or shall I?
I'll take it. Yeah.
All right, go for it.
We cut to Great Northern Lodge Hotel and Inn and Business Center.
Yeah. The Great Northern Lodge Hotel and Inn and Business Center. I have the wiki page here. That's what it says.
Fuck yeah. Okay, so we get Ben Horn exercising in this room, by the way, that also has a fire going. Insane choice. And he's talking on the phone trying to negotiate with some Icelandic investors.
So funny. I love the idea that he's just like working his way through Scandinavia.
I'll take anyone, but they gotta be Nordic.
It's so funny.
I like the idea that he has a little list and he's like, oh, Finland didn't answer my calls. Denmark is really like an edge case anyway. Anyway.
Well, and I love that we hear like he's like, oh, you have a joke? I don't know. What do you get when you cross a Norwegian and a Swede? And they answer and he's like, oh, very good, sir. Very good. So funny.
Oh, that's super funny. Okay, yeah. Audrey comes in to the room and they get pretty candid, and she asks, basically based on that previous conversation where he said, I lost you years ago. Daddy, are you ashamed of me? And he doesn't say no. He says, I think, like, you're my daughter. Woof. And she basically, and how sincere this is, I'm unsure, like, is trying to win him over and say, oh, wait, no, I know it's not sincere. Never mind. Like, I want to be your daughter again, and I want to do right by you, and I want to fix our relationship. And he doesn't buy it at first. He thinks like, oh yeah, sure. So like, go make the beds upstairs as a dismissal. And she impresses him by saying, no, I want to start at general store. I want to start at the perfume counter.
She's like, you got to think of our family's future. Like, who's going to take care of the business or whatever, you know?
Yeah, she is a great actress. Both the actress is a great actress and the character is a great actress. Because we can surmise that she is doing this because she wants to work at the perfume counter because both Laura and Ronette worked there. So this is part of the investigation for her. She wants to put herself in Laura's shoes, essentially.
Shoes? Whoa.
Oh my god.
Actually, you know what's funny? I was just thinking, because she was putting on her red shoes, and something that I know about Twin Peaks, in the pilot, you know, like she was putting on her fancy red shoes. David Lynch fucking loves The Wizard of Oz. Do you know this?
Oh my god. Right,
it's like his
documentary.
favorite. Yeah, it's like his favorite movie, and he has like references to it in like everything he's ever made. It makes me want to like rewatch The Wizard of Oz because it is absolutely his favorite movie.
That's
and I think that is
awesome.
actually really interesting thinking back of like how much Audrey was like, I'm putting on my red shoes, you know?
Oh shit. That's so good. That's so good, Sadie.
But yeah, so she's like, yeah, please let me be your daughter again. And they embrace. Then she sees like over his shoulder that Ben Horne has a picture on his desk of Audrey and Laura together.
Oh, which is so slimy. Oh,
yeah,
this feels
it's a lot.
bad.
It's a lot. Like my big, you know, like I feel I'm worried for Audrey, you know, and
yeah,
I mean, like both just like I feel really bad for her having Ben Horne as a dad. We have seen him be a slimo in like so many different ways, you know. He is not content just running the Great Northern Lodge Inn and Hotel and Business Center. He is also you know, involving himself in all these fucking schemes and is clearly like skeeving on these young women that are coming up through the perfume counter into One-Eyed Jacques.
Yeah. Oh, wait, is that what is happening?
I believe so. I believe that when they went to One-Eyed Jacques, either him or Jerry made a comment that there was like a new girl freshly scented from the department store or something.
Oh, okay. I knew there was some connection, but I didn't know that was like a conduit into One-Eyed Jacques.
I don't know if they've said it. I think they said it explicitly, but at the very least, that's my surmise.
Yeah. Oof. The fact that what finally works on Ben is like, please, I'm gonna do Laura's old job. Like, I'm gonna do what Laura used to do. She doesn't say that much, but it's clear that that's what finally gets to him.
Well, and that, like, her investigating, like, we talked about this earlier, it's like she seems very compelled by the kind of, like, the emotional side of, like, everything that happened with Laura, but I'm worried for her because it almost seems like her kind of, you know, detective approach, and, you know, this is limited by, like, what she's able to do, obviously, compared to Dale Cooper, who is an FBI agent, but, like, she is kind of, like, reenacting, she's, like, putting herself in the stuff that presumably in some way led to Laura's death, you know?
Yeah, that's very true.
It's not great. I'm worried for her, you know? And like I don't know, I'm intrigued and worried for her as my friend about like like she wants to become the protagonist. Even honestly, I think they were saying like she wants to she's like trying to claim like I'm the detective. I'm going to be the protagonist of this, you know, kind of plot thread. But you know, Dale Cooper's way into being the protagonist of the detective is to be an FBI agent and say, give me all your files about birds, you know? Whereas her only in to like investigate in this way is to assume the role of like the protagonist as victim, right, of Laura Palmer, you know,
shit,
like you know, like by, you know what I mean, like because of misogyny, you know, and like how gender is in the world, because due to misogyny, like she is, you know, like it's kind of like she's like, I would like to be the protagonist, please, and the show Twin Peaks goes, all right, we only have one protagonist spot available for women, and it's this one, you know. It makes me worried, you know?
Yeah, my goodness.
And also, let's talk about this picture. I mean, especially for her to do all this, and then we see a picture of her and Laura next to each other. You know, there's, like, she said she never really hung out with Laura that much. Also, Ben Horne, why do you have this picture? But I think, like, thinking of the show showing us a thing, I think it means a lot for her to be like, I would like to go do the job that Laura was doing, and then show us a picture of her next to Laura. Fucking alarm bells are ringing,
They really fucking are. I'm like, it makes sense to have a photo of your daughter, and it makes sense to have a photo of someone you were involved with, although it's still creepy that it's Laura. The fact of having them in the same image makes me feel like, do these people mean the same thing to you? Like, does this photo, why these two people? It's like if I had a picture of like a good boss I had, and then like an elderly grandparent. Like, what is...
Yeah.
Why these two together?
I think there's very little psychological there are very few psychological reads of it as what that says about Ben Horn that says anything good about Ben Horn.
Yeah, fuck. Yeah, man. This is okay, at risk of getting a little personal here. And use your discretion, maybe we cut this out. But so when I was like a teenager, I was involved with an older dude, right? Someone who was a dad of my friends at school, and he was always like talking about how like we could hang out, the three of us, or like, I'm so glad that you are a friend of my son's and you're there for him, and sort of having me... Okay, well, here's the other thing. Me and this friend had the same fucking name.
Oh my god.
Which was...
I did not know that part.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts.
Wow.
And so like this guy did not have like full custody of his child, and it was like a weird thing where I was maybe fulfilling the role of both a child and a like weird sexual situation. And
a lot going on. Lot to like literarily analyze. And I just want to say that Ben is starting to remind me of that guy. Huh.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah.
Oof. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, hey, thank you for sharing that. And I will follow your discretion on whether you want that in the final episode or not.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, it's cool. I'm pretty much over all that now, but it is kind of nuts that we had the same name. Like, that didn't occur to me as weird until very recently.
Yeah, no, that is a lot. And definitely, I mean, I don't think you're wrong to see the, Ben Horn, what are you doing, sir? This is strange.
This is strange.
So, moving from there, we are back at the police station. They're going through all the files. They got another call from Gordon Cole, voiced by none other than David Lynch, of course. They said that Albert sends over the reconstruction of the plastic object that was in Laura's stomach, and they're able to like discern that it was a poker chip, presumably from One-Eyed Jacks. And they also say that the marks on Laura's shoulder were from a parrot or a mynah bird.
The fact that they found a poker chip in her stomach, like, that hits me so viscerally. I don't know, that just feels like such a gross violation of her,
I really kind of breezed over that, but yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we knew about like the external violence and the scratches and wrapping her in plastic, but the fact that like, well, it's like something like breaching the barrier of her body, Oof, that feels heavier than I think they played it.
Yeah, definitely. And it's like why do we want to plant this in her? Yeah, it's grim. It's grim. We don't know necessarily how a piece of this poker chip got into Laura Palmer's stomach, but again, there's no way that it happened that is not very, very, very grim.
Yes, my goodness.
So, okay, well, first of all, Andy does say, "Oh my God, I found a file for the mynah bird called a Waldo, owned by Jacques Renault." I could not help but imagine that this is in there. I mean, who knows? But it does make me go, "Wow, where's Waldo?" So true. My notes have all caps Jacques Renault. Was this because do you remember if Gordon Cole says this in this way, or?
It seems like something he would, but I do not remember.
Maybe because I was thinking of One-Eyed Jacks. Anyway,
yeah.
If any listeners have a key into my mind and know why I just wrote Jacques Renault, my next note. And actually, does this happen in this scene? Yeah, it does. My next note, which also when I looked at it, I was like, what did I mean? I just wrote Dale Cooper in Challengers. It's because when they go to raid Jacques Renault's apartment, it opens with they're like sitting watching a tennis scene go down.
Oh,
just
that's so funny.
Let's see. Actually, I think I didn't. Yeah. So yeah, Cooper watches them playing tennis, and then they run up the stairs into the apartment building. I guess, the fact that they found this Waldo file is like that. This is enough of a connection for us to storm this guy.
Yeah. Well, he's like a known sketchy actor, right?
Yes. So they go up, they're knocking, and oh my god, who is inside but one Bobby Briggs, because he was going there to plant the bloody shirt of Leo's, which actually I think we didn't mention earlier, but he does have Shelly like sew his initials into all of his clothing, which is very funny.
That's so weird and like domestic for them.
Well, and it's so like it's very toddler-esque to me, So yeah, Bobby's inside. He's like, oh my god, he jumps out the window, barely gets out unscathed. The cops go in, or actually no, I think the cops do try to chase Bobby, but I don't believe we see them catch him, so presumably he gets out. Cooper encounters the bloody shirt and is like, oh, LJ, Leo Johnson. So, it's working. I don't think they find anything else in here, but I did make a note. Did you notice the crazy clown painting in Jacques Renault's kitchen?
Holy shit, no.
Okay, hold on. Let me pull this up. Look at this fucking clown painting he has in his kitchen.
Oh, what the hell? Oh, I hate that.
I know, isn't it a lot?
It looks like specifically an evil clown.
I know, right? I have to presume that this is more of the show's, the anti-French Canadian stereotypes showing up.
Bad taste in art. Honestly, this doesn't.
Well, and the clown, it's the Cirque du Soleil.
Oh my God. Fuck off! No way.
Oh, it's so funny.
That's nuts.
So we move to the Ben Horn. Actually, like the last thing that happened in the scene with Audrey that we didn't mention is that he like gets a phone call and he's like, meet me by the river and be discreet. And then we see him meeting here with Leo Johnson, who is very discreet, as Ben remarks. He showed up with his fucking bright red sports car, which is so funny. And he says, also, I think we just see it like fully here because we get a real like, we get Leo back shots. We get a back shot of him. But like Leo's ponytail is crazy. It really like he really just has the full fucking like Pokemon evolved rat tail.
Oh my god.
But yeah, so let's see, blah 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 blah. He shows up, he's like, nice car, shithead. He says, but Hank says that you're gifted, which presumably I think we can assume that this is Hank, Norma's husband, who is in jail. So again, presumably right. Hank is tied into this criminal underworld in some capacity.
Indeed.
Ben is like, what's that body? And Leo says that is Bernie, who we saw last episode under custody of the Brookhouse boys, and that Jacques is back in Canada. And he's like, would he, he knew that if he squealed, I'd kill him. And Ben says, well, do you think he believed you? And he's like, yeah, he shouldn't have. I killed him anyway. He wasn't too bright.
That's insane.
Yeah,
I don't know that I thought of him as someone capable of committing like cold-blooded murder.
I guess so. And I think, honestly, like, we talked about our Brookhouse boys last episode, as like, they're this like, yeah, we're fighting the good fight. But they sure did like extra legally, like extra
judicially,
extrajudicially, like kidnap this man, right? And just keep him and interrogate him, and then I guess let him loose to be killed. I don't know. I'm like, this is like the kind of thing where I don't know how much of this is my reading on it, given how I feel about fucking, extra legal border fucking gangs, but like versus how much the show agrees with me on this. But I think that like, I feel like I am indicting the Bookhouse Boys on this because they like busted this guy, grilled him, kept him in their bookhouse, and then just let him out back loose with the people who would want to kill him for having been, grilled. Yeah. It's like, if we're reading this just on like kind of soap opera surface level, this is telling us like, this Ben and Leo, these guys, they're up to no good and they'll do anything,
Indeed.
But I do think that, and I think like we talked about this earlier about like, is the show critical of, Dale, and like to what extent is the kind of like vision and like gaze and like what the show is looking at, how much is that guided by Dale and how much is like, is there like an undercurrent of like criticism there? And this feels to me like yes. And again, this could just be an undercurrent as in that's my reading of it, but I do think it is like stunningly poor fucking, I hate to say police work, you know what I mean? But like they effectively they caused this guy's death, I think.
Yes,
right?
Definitely. And I wonder why they didn't hold him, considering they know that he is like involved or culpable for something.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Part of it is the fact that they captured him as the Bookhouse Boys. Like, they couldn't, you know what I mean? They fucking kidnapped him. Like, I don't think they even had really any direct charges to lay on him necessarily. But either way, it's, I think a bit grim, and I think definitely reflects poorly on, one episode ago, we're the Bookhouse Boys. We're fighting for good against the dark evil in the woods. Episode 2, one episode later, the Bookhouse Boys have let a man die.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Somehow that didn't occur to me. No, it's not really called attention to that. Like, yeah, they are sort of responsible in a way.
Yeah. I think that is a bit of a like a reading I think possibly counter to the show, but I think this is like one of my big things of Twin Peaks is Twin Peaks loves Dale Cooper and loves his investigative techniques, but does it? Is there a subcurrent of Twin Peaks that thinks that there's flaws there? I don't know. Let's think about it. Let's keep watching the show. But
let's find out.
Anyway, in the name of that, this is Ben wants Leo to burn down the mill.
Yes.
And
make it look on purpose.
Yes, it should spell arson in big block letters. And he gives him some cash and he says more afterwards, whatever. Yeah. We're setting up, to quote the log lady, I can see the smoke, I can smell the fire. The battle draws nigh.
Can I mention the fact that Bernard Renault is... Oh, hi, mushroom. Meow. Oh my god, she's like stretching so hard she almost fell off the couch. What an angel.
I'm not cutting this.
She's still going. Oh, princess.
Oh my god, I can hear her.
Yeah, go baby. Oh, that was a big yawn. This is
okay, but
great.
Wait, what were you gonna say about Bernie?
Yeah,
Bernard.
Okay, the fact Bernard, and I'm only gonna say it that way. The thing about Bernard, is
oh my god,
son corps était emballé en plastique.
It's true, it is wrapped in plastic. Yeah,
and the fact that this is just like no biggie to Leo, like this seems like a kind of quotidian. He had no qualms doing this thing, makes him slightly more suspect to me in terms of who killed Laura. I don't think it was him. I don't really see how that would make sense. But also the fact that his body is wrapped in like opaque plastic where Laura's was like translucent is interesting. That made me somewhat doubt that Monsieur Renault's body was actually in there. Like my first thought was like, oh, is he just saying this?
It's funny. When you said that, I was like, oh, I think there's something here about like how a television show regards a dead woman's body, right? Like that it's in transparent plastic because you're supposed to see it and like see
You're supposed to look at it.
You know what I mean? Like see the it's like it is for spectacle, right?
That's true. That's very true.
God, you know what's funny? My other note, I actually doesn't even know, but I'm just thinking about it. I think it is so funny for Ben to be like, yeah, Hank said that you're gifted at fucking setting shit on fire. I don't think Leo Johnson is a gifted criminal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's the number one guy.
We're not, this isn't fucking Heisenberg out here, you know? Anywho, I think we've said enough there. Do you wanna take us on to James and Donna land?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Here we've got James and Donna walking through the woods, just the two of them, thinking about how they are going to take matters into their own hands and do some investigating of their own. Donna tells James that Sarah Palmer knows about the necklace thing, right? How they buried a necklace out in the woods. So they go check on that, the rock that it was under, and the necklace is gone. Which
Vision's
is
real.
So they say that someone must have just like seen them doing it and followed them, but maybe it was after the vision. Who knows?
It's true. Maybe Sarah was seeing a vision of herself in the future taking it, and then she took it.
But didn't we see it taken in the pilot? Didn't someone take it right at the end?
Well, yeah, but we saw her see that vision, and then maybe that was just her seeing herself an hour in the future that she went and did it. I don't know. I'm just saying shit.
How do we really know anything?
Damn. Sorry, I completely threw you off.
Yeah, slightly. I just got lost in the timeline of all that. Donna says, like, somewhat disconcerted, that not only does, like, is Sarah known as a seer of sorts, Laura was too. They both had some sort of special relationship to the unseen, the intangible. They think about telling this to the cops, but ultimately decide against it because let's see, I think I have the quote here.
I have it also. It's like the police didn't love Laura. Nobody loved her but us.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
we're gonna find out who killed her. This is about us.
Yeah, I just wrote that down and I just said that is a crazy line. Like,
this is nuts.
I like just that like, this is about us. About your friend getting murdered is wild.
Nuts, man. This relationship, it's like a really intense camaraderie that is sort of grown with every time we see them together. And I want to know why they think they can't trust the cops. Like, where does that come from for them? Maybe just that they have positioned themselves as the main characters and therefore like should have license to do whatever they want.
I feel like that's kind of my read. Is like, I feel like psychologically, like when I like in like, just like in universe character psychology, I feel like, there is a like, doing it this is about us is a real like, oh, my friend got murdered in a way that seemed like arbitrary and just like meaningless cruelty, but I can give it meaning by saying, no, it's about us, and it happened so that I can find out who killed her.
And also to bring them together.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
It's a lot of like terrible ways to rationalize what happened. I really don't see this going well for any of the teenagers.
Yeah.
I really, truly don't. Not to mention, like, even if they did succeed, I don't think it would be good for them, Not that I trust the cops. Look, I hate cops. But I feel like 18-year-olds are not meant to investigate the murder of their best friend / girlfriend.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I'm having trouble putting my finger on it, but there's something that their weird bond like reminds me of. It's
U-Haul lesbians?
It's not totally unlike that, actually. It reminds me of certain like friendships I would have as a kid that were like sort of right on the verge of being like too old to play pretend, where we would just sort of decide that like the whole world is like a lie and bullshit and only we know the truth. Like very imaginative. You know what it is? It is what Maddie wanted in I Saw the TV Glow.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
A relationship that sort of makes possible this reality that just maybe is not there. Like they need each other to mutually buy into this thing for it to be real. Yeah, these really strong, sudden, sort of dysfunctional bonds that like I think are a thing that like kids and teenagers are most liable to get into. Where it's like you almost disappear into your own little version of reality, your own little world, you know?
And I think it is very interesting to like compare and contrast that with what you were saying about Audrey earlier, right? In that, like, I think you were saying like Audrey like it says this is kind of bullshit, but I'm going to enjoy the bullshit and play along with it, you know? And like lean into it and lean into like performing that bullshit. Whereas these two are like, oh, this is all bullshit. We need to break off and make our own truth and like find the real truth and whatever. You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah.
But also in doing so, are like constructing this fantasy, you know?
Can I call out one more sort of relationship this reminds me of?
Please.
So I doubt that you've seen this movie, but honestly, I don't know if anyone really has. It came out a couple years ago. It's called Resurrection. Does this ring a bell?
No.
Okay, so this is like a slightly surreal, thrillery movie about a woman who was in some sort of like Lovecraftian level evil relationship like decades ago, and now that man has like reemerged in her life and she is trying to just sort of keep him at arm's length. But basically those two people are joined by, can I spoil it? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay, so basically for the first half of the movie you think that he was just like an older man who was maybe an abusive partner. And he certainly was abusive. But the actual event that joined them is that they lived on their own on this island and they had a baby together. And she was forced to do all the housework and basically like forced to be like extremely doting of both the boyfriend and the baby. And when she finally left one day just to like, I think like mail a letter or do some groceries or something. Sorry, that's Mushroom in the background. He ate the baby.
Oh my god.
He ate the baby. This is revealed in a 10-minute oneer of just her telling this horrible story that no one else believes. It is just assumed that this is like a delusion that stands in for some similarly like inconceivable evil thing that he's done.
Yeah.
And since no one else believes this, the two of them are the only one existing in this sort of reality. They have this incredibly strong bond. Like in every scene, the eye contact they make is nuts. And maybe we don't... I don't want to tell you whether... Okay, my interpretation is that this really happened and he did eat the baby. Basically this to say that they are both characters who live in normal world, but then when they see each other, they slip into this horrible fantasy world where they are more exceptional people than they really are.
Yeah.
Pretty good movie. Not an easy watch.
Yeah. So James ate Laura.
Maybe. Arguably, everyone kind of eats Laura.
God, that's so true. And you know what? She ate.
Oh my god, that's awful.
But yeah, no, it's there's a lot going on with these two. But yeah, shall we move on to the final scene?
Let's do it.
So, we are I promised the listener that the ominous domino would be back. Yeah, the Omdom, as we called it in the biz. So Josie is at home and gets a call from Harry, who asks if she was at the Timberfall Motel. because when they were there, I think we skipped over it, but Hawk is like, hey, by the way, someone was here before us. It was Josie, because she was. And she's like, I don't know, call me tomorrow. We have a scene between her and Pete. She's making him a sandwich, and he is asks if she wants to join him at as a partner at the upcoming fishing contest. This to me feels like are they planting that Pete is nursing a crush on Josie, was my takeaway. How much he's like, yes, would you like to come fishing, Pete allows himself mayonnaise on the sandwich because Catherine is asleep. I guess these two are fully just like, they are sleeping in different bedrooms at this point, which we knew earlier. But, he's just like, all right, I've got my sandwich. I'm going to bed, which is also very funny. He's just like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking take my sandwich to bed.
We've all been there, look.
Which also, you know what? I will say, I don't know if this is necessarily really what the episode's going for, but we sure did have early in the episode Shelly being like, oh, Leo just wanted a maid he didn't have to pay. Meanwhile, Pete walks in and it's like, oh, Josie, I have such a crush on you. Oh, you made me a sandwich. Thanks.
Oh, yeah.
But after he leaves, Josie is going through the mail and finds a letter addressed to her, which greatly disturbs her because it's just a pencil illustrated drawing, I think. Yeah. Very photorealistic of the spooky domino.
Oh my god.
The wiki notes, it has double threes, so I don't know, whatever the fuck. Keep a note of that. But this was, I believe, the same domino that we saw Hank with earlier, and it
must be.
She is completely. She's like, oh my god, not spooky domino.
Does she know what the domino or who the domino is identified with?
My read is that there's something that Hank has leverage on her in some capacity, and she is scared of whatever, you know what I mean? There's something. He's holding something over her.
Yeah.
So I get, and Hank, of course, as anyone would, reminds her of this and is like, I'm going to be out of, coming out of parole soon. Time to keep track on all my people that I'm blackmailing or holding, who'll have some kind of weird pressure, threatening pressure over. I will draw my domino and mail it to them. So she kind of runs into the other room where there's a fucking crazy big taxidermy bear that is very pointedly, fucking shot. And then the phone rings, and she does answer the phone. I talked about our #cinema earlier. I just read I'm answering the phone at a Dutch angle to communicate my unbalanced mental state. And it is Hank who's there. And do you remember what he says to her?
No, remind me.
I don't. Hold on. Let me pull it up here. Okay, she picks up the phone and he says, "Did you get my message?" And then fucking sucks off his domino.
So
and then
weird.
Says, "Catch ya later," and hangs up. It's just so the fucking return of. I just wrote, "Don't suck on that domino, you weirdo." He's and also she can't see that. This is just for the audience to let us know that.
Even.
Yeah, that he is a salacious villain. But yeah, so
weird
he has some fucking threat that's hanging over Josie's head, and he is sucking off his domino to let us know about it. It's so funny.
Oh man, that brings us to the end of the episode, doesn't it?
Yeah. It was kind of a little stinger of a last scene, but shall we? Well, actually, you know what? It's funny. We've been kind of going all these scene by scene, and I was wondering if we should either at the top or afterwards, just how does this land for you as an episode overall?
Yeah, let's. I think this one being a little less outwardly artsy came as a slight disappointment for me. I'm really eager to get into that, the red room stuff. But, it was an effective episode of television. It moved everything along smoothly. I think I'm a little less into it than the last couple episodes.
Yeah, it's funny. I remember because I've said a couple times, the first time I watched Twin Peaks, I bounced off it because I wanted the weird ass red room shit, And I think when I rewatched the first season, I was like, oh, I just need to learn to have fun with the weird ass shit like this. I just need to have fun with like Andy fucking dropping his gun and the llama snorting, you know? And like, I think it's Twin Peaks really wants to also just be a soap opera in this way, and to be a kind of like, oh, let's check in on our characters. But yeah, it is definitely like when it goes crazy, it's like, whoa, this is crazy. It's a very different, like, I don't know, registers of intensity almost, you know?
Oh, sure. Yeah, this makes sense. I mean, the Bob and Mike vision is still like still scarred into my brain,
it's so
you
good.
know?
Yeah.
So
really
are we
good.
gonna, I mean, feel free to not answer this, but are we gonna get more of that like season 2? Or does it get really off the rails? I mean, is it ever consistently off the rails?
Define off the rails.
I don't know, like, I guess out of this soap opera mode where it's like, here's what this character's up to, here's where this character's up to, and like a lot of like small scale household drama stuff. Like, is there ever a break from, I guess you could say, like, objectivity?
So I am thinking carefully about whether to answer and how much. Like, tell me how much you know about Twin Peaks season 3.
Nothing.
Okay.
I know Fix Your Heart or Die. I know David Duchovny's in it.
Yeah. Okay. The answer is yes, we will. And I think that it is also something that will be kind of shifting. We've talked a bit, like, before ever doing this podcast about how, like, and this is like kind of a spoiler, but like, I think this is something that is just kind of broadly known. The back half of season 2 of Twin Peaks has a very different vibe and like production than season 1 and 2 mostly. And so there are places, there's a lot, anyway, Twin Peaks goes a lot of places. And so my answer of will things go completely crazy mode is yes. And it will not necessarily be linear in how much we go in and out of crazy mode. And also, here's what I'll say to entice you is that, you know how I accidentally screen shared to you the picture of fucking Major Briggs's head in space, and you're like, I have no idea how we get there.
Yeah.
I think in those ways, like all of Twin Peaks broadly, if there was like a batshit crazy like dial, I think we have hit like 3 out of 10, maybe, or 4 maybe, out of how much it can get. So we're gonna go places.
That's really what I wanted to know. That is thrilling to hear.
And but I do really encourage, like, because I think I knew that things got really crazy, and it made me enjoy season 1 less. And especially like there's a lot of like both season 1 and season 2, there's a lot of like this early Twin Peaks that is in between the moments where it goes crazy town and where it is kind of just let's follow characters doing things. And I think like I enjoyed it a lot less when in my mindset, I was like, I'm just going through this filler until we go crazy mode, you know?
Yeah.
But I think it is really important to enjoying Twin Peaks, I think, to like be game for when it's just like that, you know? Like there are parts of Twin Peaks that I engage with in a completely different way than, like, you know, how we were like, okay, we're in the red room when he says, doesn't she look like Laura Palmer? What does this make us think about? There are definitely parts of Twin Peaks that and like stretches even of Twin Peaks that I engage with as just like, oh, can you believe Andy did that? Haha. In the way that I would just kind of watching a soap opera. And again, I think David Lynch wants you to be doing both of those things in the way that I think, you know, we've talked a lot about duality and opposites and tensions and whatever. And I think the tension between these two ways of watching Twin Peaks is like built into Twin Peaks on purpose, I think.
This makes sense to me. This makes sense. And I want to let you know, I mean, in case it's not adequately clear, I'm like thoroughly enjoying the soapy stuff. I just like, It's just a bunch of really interesting characters, played very well. They have interesting things to do. Obviously, I'm curious about like the murder investigation and the criminal stuff, but also just like the little betrayals and secret interests and like the more like human scale stuff is also very well executed, I think.
Anywho, let's move into our closing segments. So Lily's nightmare corner. I see you have no dice on Twin Peaks specific dreams, but do you want to tell us about the other dreams you've had?
Yes, I do. So yeah, Lily's nightmare corner. We're coming into the, I think, 5th consecutive episode with nothing to report. And for those who don't remember, this is me trying to give myself dreams set in the world of Twin Peaks in hopes that I will learn about who killed Laura Palmer. Yeah, nothing yet, but I have been having some weird dreams. So I'm hopeful that this will work eventually.
Yeah, no, but I think if you tell us about your weird dreams, I think that's consistent with a Twin Peaks podcast if it has nothing to do with Twin Peaks, you know?
Yeah, awesome. Okay. I got 2 for you here. The first one is I was hanging out with my buddy's nephew. My buddy does not have a nephew. This is my friend who speaks Albanian, whose family is Albanian.
Okay.
I had to basically become her for the day, watch over this 3-year-old boy, and hang out with the family, but I had to convince them that I was part of their family as well.
This is so funny. This is Madeline Twin Peaks to me.
Kind of, right? Yeah, well, with the added thing that I very much do not speak Albanian. But the family was lovely. We just sort of hung out in like a big kind of what seemed like a fancier IKEA restaurant. And I got to like laugh with a baby. So that was really cool.
Okay, we take those.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Also, so I have a lot of dreams that are set in the same locations, one of which is this. Oh shit, this one was also at IKEA.
Damn, maybe IKEA is your red room.
Wow. It's my blue and yellow room. I was in line to order at the restaurant at IKEA, and I was having some really technical, complicated conversation. And then I got hit with a nuts edibles high. I was just suddenly like, oh, I took edibles in this dream before the part that I remember. And now I'm high on marijuana. And I just like couldn't put any words together. And it was like actually experiencing it, which I don't do on purpose. Did anything else happen?
This is so funny.
There was like some weird satanic stuff, but I can't remember it right now.
This is exactly the scene of Dale trying to recount his dream. So funny.
Fuck, one of them told me who killed Laura Palmer.
Fuck. Damn.
Maybe it was spelled out in the meatballs.
So true. Well, speaking of who killed Laura Palmer, shall we check in on our power rankings?
Yeah. So last week, my top 3 were, in 3rd place, we, the viewers of the show, killed Laura Palmer. 2nd place, Mike and Bob killed Laura Palmer. And in 1st, the town of Twin Peaks.
It really took us like 4 episodes to just start getting so cutesy and conceptual with it.
Yeah. And I'll get slightly less conceptual here, but only slightly. I do want to address, first of all, Mike and Bob are off the list.
Okay.
At least the ones that we met in this episode who are not. What the fuck was his name? Gil? No.
Philip Gerard?
Philip Gerard. He is not on the list. I thought he was going to be. I think the Mike and Bob that we saw in the visions are like spectral and don't literally act on this world, although I'm sure they have lots to tell us. Yeah, so that's out. We, the viewers of the show, I'm still thinking about, because, well, we've been talking about cameras as like a soul stealing thing. I've been paying a lot of attention to how people sort of take ownership over or try to replace Laura. Everyone has a little version of her that does not do the real complex person justice, from what I can tell. And so watching this is like stealing a little piece of her soul and creating a version of her that she has no control over because she's dead.
Watching this isn't like watching Twin Peaks. Like
watching Twin Peaks,
we
television
are participating
program.
in this. Yeah.
Yeah, we are complicit somehow. The town of Twin Peaks was my first pick, and that is just not one that's really on my mind that much this episode in either direction. The crime we are looking at here has more to do with like the drug deaths and stuff. However, on that note, I think Ben and the Renault brothers have to come into play. So I know that I don't think Ben personally would have killed Laura, but I do think that if he set her on a path involving One-Eyed Jacks, that very possibly could have led to her demise, in the same way that like the Bookhouse boys arguably killed Bernard. The Renault brothers, I think, yeah, they're just bad news. They seem willing to kill, and sort of seeing Bernard wrapped up in plastic sort of like semantically brought him closer to Laura to me, even though that is not like a literal clue by any means. Don't like those guys, don't like it one bit.
So what's our top? So at the moment, the names that you've said are Ben Horn, Renault brothers, and We the Viewers. Do we want to rank these in the top 3?
Yeah, so third place is going to be the Renault brothers, because I don't have anything like tangible there.
Yeah, but the vibes are off.
The vibes are seriously off. Second place will be We the Viewers. And then first will be Ben Horn, let's say / One-Eyed Jacks. Sure.
A One-Eyed Jacks and Ben Horn is morally to blame.
Yeah, and I think possibly also like materially in some way, but I'm not sure.
All right. Hell yeah.
Alrighty.
We love it. Okay, and similarly, you know what will happen next time on Twin Peaks. I don't. So our predictions from last episode were that they tracked down the one-armed man, which did happen. You said,
but I had gotten spoiled on that, so I can't take full credit.
Had you?
Yeah, because I saw the next episode was called The One-Armed Man.
The One-Armed Man, sure. Well, okay, you said that he works at the hospital, which in the blue funky area.
Not true.
Yeah, he was visiting his injured veterinarian friend. He says he just had a mom tattoo, but I kind of like your called shot if he has a Fire Walk With Me tattoo, but it's backwards.
Yeah, I wish that would have been true, and I don't think we'll ever find out.
You don't think they're going to be like, here, it's the arm, it's been preserved. It walks up and says, I am the arm.
Oh, that's so funny.
No, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, no.
But your last called shot, Norma's husband gets out of prison and works at the diner, but he's kept humble by his silly little apron.
Okay, I was jumping the gun slightly on this. Norma's husband is going to get out of prison, and he is going to work at the diner, but he has not yet been humbled by the apron.
So are we just still locking this in for next time, or do you think is it going to be like, is next episode going to be like a moral battle between his domino and the apron?
That's fucking nuts. Let me think on this. So I feel like it would be playing it too safe to just put the same guess again.
Sure.
I predict some sort of standoff between Norma's husband. What's his name?
Hank Jennings.
Yeah, some sort of tension at the diner between Hank and Ben Horn, which is to say the domino and the poker chip.
This is true. Yeah,
and that is literally the entire reason I'm predicting it.
And you think it's going to happen at the diner?
Yeah, I do think so. I think he's there, and maybe people don't expect him to be there.
It's an intrusion of the underworld into the overworld space of the diner.
Ooh, there we go. You're really steel manning this for me, and I appreciate it.
Okay. So A plot. domino and poker chip showdown.
I think that's the B plot.
You think that's B plot? Okay. So what's our A plot?
Our A plot is Donna and James. So they do want to work with Audrey, but I think they keep her at a bit of an arm's length. And they go off on their own little wild goose chase in pursuit of clues. I think they find Bernard's body in the woods.
Ooh. All right.
And I think they are totally wrong about what it means. That's like 4 guesses in one.
I love it. Okay, so next time on Twin Peaks, listeners, Donna and James keep Audrey at arm's length, but go off on a wild goose chase and find Bernard's body wrapped in plastic. They are unfortunately totally wrong about what it means. Meanwhile, Hank and Ben Horn have a fated showdown in the diner over a domino versus poker chip based rivalry. Or symbolic rivalry.
Symbolic rivalry.
Awesome.
Yes, I stand by that.
Okay.
Epic.
Well, that's been TSTV.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah. And
find us places. We don't have.
Yeah, it's
like,
funny. I
media.
keep thinking about should we do plugs, but because I might just have us say it once and just edit it in as a one-time thing. You know, you're on
sense.
YouTube. I'm on Twitter. I guess I don't know.
If you want to be, you can plug your book if you want.
Yeah, I probably will because I kind of like the idea of just saying it once. And actually, though, you know what I will say. That I wanted to remember to do is presumably, by the time this is out, it will be out. And if you are listening to this and you like this podcast, open up Apple Podcast, iTunes, whatever, and give it a 5-star review.
Yeah.
And even if you don't like it, give it a 5-star review also.
Set us up so you can watch us fall further.
Exactly. Pile up the dominoes, you know? Cause that's what makes it happen when people find it. That just fucking do it, and women, we as women will thank you.
I think we leave on that.
Yeah.
Play us out.
All right. Bye.
Bye. TSTV is hosted by Sadie Avery Lake and yours truly, Lily Alexander. Our music is by Jamie Page, the art is by Maya Fernandez-Giles, and this episode was edited by Tarek Jamal. If you have any questions or comments or just want to get in touch, please email us at hellotstv@gmail.com. We may respond in a future episode. To support the show and gain access to our monthly bonus episodes, head over to tstv.show. Thanks for listening. See you next time.
Content warnings for episode 5, Cooper's Dreams. There's a transmisogyny joke in the episode at one point. There is some gun violence in the context of domestic violence. More Leo, there's a gun. Okay, I'll tell you right now, Shelly doesn't get shot, but there you're in the content warning and spoiler part of the show. Maybe you can put 2 and 2 together, but yeah, we're gonna have some more Leo being violent, and there is gun violence as well in there. And again, more of the show being orbiting around sex work in ways that are kind of thoughtless.